American Comics. The containment object is exposed at the beginning. Chapter 41. We are now predicting a world where 3D glasses for contained objects will appear, the world of Doraemon. Just then the sound from the screen sounded. Hey! Our world. Hearing this, Nobita and Doraemon were frightened. Then the screen switched to Nobita and Doraemon's room. Tony Stark. These two are Nobita and Doraemon. Why is one a child and a tanuki? Barton. The people we were talking to just now were children and civet cats. What a joke. Luffy. The tanukas in your place can also talk, and so can Chopper on our ship. Chopper. Luffy. In your eyes, am I also a tanuki? Luffy. No, no. Morohoshiden. Is this tanuki a monster? And what can a child do? Tony Stark. You're back, how are the robots? Star Cluster. Very powerful, indescribable. Leo's world. Zhu Xingtuan looked at Ji Yudun's body in front of him with a shocked expression. Ji Yudun died with a big hole in his chest. This masterpiece was caused by Gunteras. After Star Cluster activated Gunteras, it only took one turn to kill Ji Yudun instantly. With that terrifying destructive power, even Leo and Severn are no match. With this robot, we will definitely be able to protect the Earth in the future. But after all, there is only one, so Zhu Xingtuan has arranged for people to study this robot to see if it can be reproduced. At this time, Doraemon world. Nobita and Doraemon rummaged around anxiously, thinking that the 3D glasses were in their room. No. Doraemon. Where is that thing? I do not know either. Help. Monster. When the two of them looked anxious, screams came from outside, so they immediately ran to the window and looked outside. I saw a man running anxiously, looking like he was being chased by something. The strange thing was that even though there was nothing around him, his clothes kept getting damaged and his body kept getting injured. Help me! Help me! The man shouted anxiously, pushing back the people he met on the road, as if he wanted to stop what was chasing him. But the person who was pushed didn't touch anything, and looked at the bleeding man with a confused expression. That man. Wearing glasses. But where are the 3D glasses? Doraemon looked around anxiously, and then found 3D glasses at the door of his house. It seemed that it appeared there at some point and was picked up and put on by someone. Doraemon, let's go and save him. Nobita shouted anxiously. Okay, bamboo dragonfly. Doraemon immediately took out 2 bamboo dragonflies and placed them on his and Nobita's heads. Then the bamboo dragonfly turned and the 2 people flew out of the window. They immediately flew to the ground to pick up the 3D glasses and caught up with the person. Seeing this, many people were stunned. What they saw was that a toy-like thing could actually make people fly. Tony Stark. Raccoon cat. What did you take out just now? Why is it flying? Doraemon. You are the tanuki. I am a cat-shaped robot from the 22nd century. I am a cat. Tony Stark. What the 22nd century? Hearing Doraemon's words, everyone was stunned. They were shocked when they took out that kind of flying prop, but now they are from the 22nd century. Nick Fury. Are you talking nonsense? I see that your buildings are no different from those in the 20th century. Doraemon. Because I took a time machine from the 22nd century to the 20th century. Tony Stark. What time machine? You came from the future, do you have the technology to travel through time? Many people were stunned when they saw this. Traveling through time is a dream for many people. Doraemon. I don't have time to tell you that much now, I have to save the talent quickly. After Doraemon finished speaking, he took out a large mirror from his 4th-dimensional pocket. Copy mirror. Then he used a copying mirror to copy 3D glasses, and he and Nobita just happened to wear them one by one. The two of them immediately arrived in an uninhabited desert world. I saw a large group of terrifying creatures gathering together to attack the air. Such a mammoth number made their expressions change greatly. Natasha. There are so many monsters, isn't this a sure death? Barton. One more thing I'm curious about is, why can you take things out of the mirror? Nobita. This is called a copying mirror. It can copy anything. Nick Fury. What? Copy anything, no limit. Doraemon. Yes, no matter how much or what. As long as it is taken out of the mirror, it can be copied, even people. You just have to be careful that the copied person will be locked in the mirror. Seeing Doraemon's explanation, everyone couldn't help but take a breath. It can copy anything. There is no upper limit. This is an artifact. For example, if it is used to replicate massive amounts of food, famine can be alleviated. Copying a large number of weapons can create a huge armed force. If it is used to replicate energy, water sources, etc., many crises can be solved. With such terrifying high technology, even people like Ancient One, Odin and Diana, who have lived for who knows how many years, cannot remain calm. One Piece World, Navy Headquarters. Kizaru couldn't help but blink at Doraemon's words. Then wouldn't this be able to copy a large number of devil fruits of the same type? After hearing Kizaru's words, Sengoku and Akainu's eyes changed. There are a large number of devil fruit users of the same type, such as the natural type. This is unthinkable. It is common sense that there is only one type of devil fruit. But this mirror can defeat this attempt. Just think about it, many people in the Navy are powerful natural ability users or other types, how terrifying that would be. Marvel Asgard. Hey, father, if this mirror is really so magical, wouldn't it be able to replicate many hammers and your Odin's spear? Saul shouted with a rare grasp of the point. After hearing this, Odin couldn't keep calm. His weapon, Odin's spear, is the strongest in the 9 realms, and it is difficult to find one that can match it even in the entire universe. If he can copy a large number of Odin's guns, he will not be afraid of any enemy if he equips one with one. How to create this replicating mirror? If people on Earth in another universe can study it, can we also do it? When Odin thought of this, he suddenly regretted that he did not develop technology properly and focused on magic. Tony Stark. I have another question. How can you fit such a big mirror in your pocket? Doraemon, because this is my 4th dimensional pocket. There is a very wide 4th dimensional space inside, and I can put anything in it. Naruto. 4th dimension. What is that? Doraemon. If I have to explain it, it means creating a brand new space specifically to put things. Ancient One. What? Creating space? You are using very advanced space magic. Ji Yi is very familiar with this kind of move. In high-level space magic, there is a special space for putting things, and she can do it herself. But this kind of magic is particularly difficult. Doraemon. It's not magic, it's technology. Even if you tell me, you won't understand. This is 22nd century technology. Tony Stark's breathing became particularly heavy when he saw this. He thought he was the top scientist, but the props Doraemon showed in less than a minute shocked him. Then he was ecstatic, allowing him to see more possibilities of technology. Let me see what other props there are. Help! Help! The poor man no longer had the strength to run. Those monsters relied on some unknown ability to launch a fatal attack on that man across the barrier of the world. Stop it! Doraemon and Nobita immediately flew over, and at the same time they took out air cannons and shock guns to attack the group of creatures. Boom! Boo-hoo! The air cannon blew up some monsters, and then the shock gun successfully put the hit monsters into a state of shock. Delay the time that the person is hurt as much as possible. Give them a chance to grab the man and fly into the air to avoid these monsters. Ooh! The appearance of Doraemon and Nobita attracted the attention of all the monsters, and they howled. The sudden appearance of new intruders made them extremely dissatisfied. They howled and wanted to attack them. But none of these creatures could fly. They could only stretch out their hands and watch Doraemon and Nobita fly higher and higher. This made them extremely angry, and their roars contained strong murderous intent. As time went by, more and more monsters appeared in all directions visible to the naked eye, almost filling the desert. So many monsters gathered together, gradually forming a meat ladder, approaching Doraemon and Nobita. Jiraiya. Oh my god, why are there so many? Warring states. If we can't eliminate them all, they will be hunted down to the end. Tony Stark. The weapons in their hands are not enough to deal with them. There must be some high technology. Doraemon. What should I do? Nobita shouted anxiously. Don't panic. Leave it to me. Doraemon didn't panic at all, and even thought of a way. He immediately rummaged through his pocket and took out what looked like a mouth toy, and then put it on his mouth. We are actually not seen by this group of creatures, and they will not continue to hunt us. Doraemon said the opposite of the truth seriously. Everyone here looked confused. What are they doing? Before they could ask anything, something that shocked them happened. That was the monsters that were originally trying to chase Doraemon and the others, but now they walked away one by one as if nothing had happened. Completely turning a blind eye to the three people in the sky. Is Doraemon okay now? Nobita asked worriedly. As long as you don't make any noise and attract their attention, that's fine. When Doraemon said this, he looked at the uncle in his hand. Fortunately, he had fainted, otherwise he would be in trouble if he yelled again. After the group of creatures completely dispersed, Doraemon and Nobita breathed a sigh of relief. Then they immediately took off their 3D glasses and returned to reality. Seeing this, all the audience exploded and asked countless questions. Nick Fury. My fool. What did you do? Why did you just say a word and those creatures left? Mordo. Is that forgetting magic? You will also forget magic. Tony Stark. This is amazing, please explain it quickly. Doraemon. This is not some forgetfulness magic, this is a lie coming true. As long as you wear this prop, no matter how outrageous your words are, they will become reality. Even the end of the world can be done. Everyone fell into silence when they saw Doraemon's words, unable to laugh at this seemingly brief message. Marvel Karma Taj. Furuchi looked at Doraemon's explanation in disbelief. Modify reality, this is the ability to modify reality. Ancient One immediately thought of magic that could modify reality. In her knowledge, there are some magics that can modify reality, but the strongest ones are the Reality Stone, Phoenix Power, and Chaos Magic. However, this little beak can actually modify reality in such a terrifying way, and it seems to be very convenient to use. Ji Yi, who had faced off against countless demon gods, couldn't turn his head around. It was the first time he had lost his temper like this. Tony Stark. Is this still technology? It completely subverts the law of cause and effect. Doraemon. That's true, but this is a high-tech product of the 22nd century. Tony Stark. This is actually technology. Technology can actually subvert cause and effect. This is amazing, please tell me how it is done. Doraemon. How do I know this? I didn't do it. What's more, even if I tell you how to make it, you don't have the materials of our 22nd century. Seeing this, Tony Stark was instantly disappointed. Seeing such a high-tech product on the other side of the screen, he couldn't study it, and his mood was so complicated. It's like being a kid looking at the toys in the closet and never getting that feeling. Naruto. Anything can be achieved. If I have this, I can become Hokage and create a peaceful world without war. Usopp. Then all my bragging will come true. Piccolo. Hey, can it be used to kill very powerful enemies? Doraemon. Ah. Yes. Son Gohan. It would be great if our world had them, so we wouldn't have to worry about Saiyans. Sun Wukong. Hey, that won't work. I want to fight in an upright manner. Piccolo. Me too. Sun Wukong. Then you still ask. Vegeta. Do you think I'm afraid? I just want to kill you instantly without you opening your mouth. Doraemon. Well, this machine does have this problem. It won't start until the words are finished. Natasha. That's very simple. There are 10,000 ways to guard against it. Just hurry up. Nick Fury. Mr. Doraemon, if possible, please find a way to tell us the design principles and let us try it. Nick Fury was very jealous when he saw the lie come true. With this, SHIELD can definitely handle any crisis. Bruce Wayne. So it can resurrect the dead. Diana. You're back, why haven't you spoken for so long? Bruce Wayne. I'm going to catch the criminal. Mr. Doraemon, can you answer me? Can you resurrect people who have been dead for a long time? Doraemon. No one has tried this. It should be possible. When Bruce Wayne saw this, he couldn't help but take a deep breath and felt excited. Doesn't this mean that his parents who have been dead for many years can be resurrected? But after the excitement, he was disappointed. He and Doraemon were not from the same universe, so how could he get such high technology? Congratulations on the successful containment of the 3D glasses. Now the rewards will be distributed. At this moment, the electronic sound on the screen sounded. 1/3 of the props in Doraemon's pocket were upgraded to permanent props, and Nobita received the first-year magic course at Hogwarts, which came with an ordinary wand. After hearing this reward, above Nobita, several textbooks suddenly appeared and smashed towards him, causing him to fall to the ground. Nobita. When Doraemon saw this, he immediately flew down and helped Nobita up. Then he quickly rummaged through the medical kit to treat Nobita, and also the uncle. Hey, my prop. After putting it back in the medicine box, Doraemon noticed that his props had changed, and then took out some of them to check. Some of them have actually become permanent props. That's great. This made Doraemon very happy and even burst into tears. At this time, the voice on the screen is still explaining. Hogwarts is a magic school in a certain magical world. It educates students with magic qualifications about magic. The courses at Hogwarts are divided into grades 1 to 6. Now Nobita is given the most basic grade 1 course. Strange. What? There is magic in other universes, and there are schools, even graded like elementary schools. This is too avant-garde. Modu. Ahem, strange, are you saying that you think there is something wrong with our Taja's teaching methods? Strange. Well, how should I put it, it's a bit scattered. When Strange was complaining, he noticed that Ancient One was next to him, and his expression instantly turned ugly. It seems that Mr. Strange is very dissatisfied with our teaching methods. Maybe we need to practice more. When Ancient One said this, he showed a wicked smile, which scared Strange to the point of trembling all over. Wong ignored them and talked to Nobita and the others. As a well-read man, he was very interested in such magic books. Wong, Nobita, what does the magic book you got say, and how to cast the spell? Nobita. It is divided into many contents, including spells, transfiguration, defense against the dark arts, potion making, herbal medicine, and the history of magic. The method of casting the spell mentioned above seems to be just reciting a spell and waving the wand. Wong. What? It's so simple, this is called Hogwarts' way of practicing magic, you don't have to pay any price. Nobita. The introduction in the book said that you should concentrate on studying hard, but that's it. Wong. I really envy you, you don't have to pay much price. Tony Stark. Wait a minute, listening to your words, are you also magicians? It seems that you also know a lot about magic. Ancient One. Yes, we are indeed magicians and have been guarding this world. Nick Fury. Wait a minute, it's shield that protects the world, okay. Don't just take away our credit. Modu. Stupid people, you can't protect this world with your own strength. Without Master Ancient One, this world would have been destroyed by demons from other dimensions. Nick Fury. What? What are you talking about, devil? Ancient One. It is happier not to know some things. Tony Stark. You are pretending to be a ghost. If you have the ability to report your address, I want to see if you are a ghost or something. Ancient One. Haha. Nick Fury's eyes lit up when he saw Tony Stark's provocation, looking forward to the Ancient One announcing his identity. However, the Ancient One and others did not accept this trick at all, so Nick Fury could not get the answer he expected. Hill, I asked you to investigate these names. What's the result? Nick Fury has long given the names of people in the Marvel Universe to Hill for investigation. Even hacking into systems around the world. I found it, but it didn't do much. Hill flipped through the thick information report. Loki, Odin, and Thor are all names in mythology. Ancient One, Mordo, and Wong cannot be found. Strange is a genius surgeon, but he has been missing for a long time. After hearing this information, Nick Fury frowned tightly. He suddenly realized that he didn't know much about his own world. Tony Stark. I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. Hey, Doraemon, I still have many things to ask you. What does the permanent prop mean just now? Doraemon. My props are all disposable because they are very cheap. Permanent props are very expensive and most people can't afford them. Tony Stark. Wait a minute, you said that your props are disposable and can be purchased. Can props like lies come true be purchased everywhere? Doraemon. Yes, props like that will be everywhere in department stores in the future, and you can buy them if you have money. Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne couldn't help but gasp when they saw this. Such high-tech products can be purchased by everyone. Speaking of money, both Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark are extremely rich people with unbelievable wealth. There is nothing they can buy in the world. But now that they know that there is a store selling high-tech props in a certain world, they suddenly feel that their wealth is useless. Tsunade. Wait a minute, if everyone can buy such a powerful thing, won't it cause chaos? Doraemon. No, there will be special management measures in the future to prevent the proliferation of props. Seeing this, everyone was instantly shocked. Props that change facts and cause and effect can be controlled. How terrifying is the technological level of the Doraemon universe? Bruce Wayne. Speaking of which, you haven't explained why you went from the 22nd century to the 20th century. I feel like you have a purpose for existing. Doraemon. It does have a purpose, just to change the fate of my friend Nobita. You can never imagine how useless this child will be when he grows up. If the business fails, he will owe loan sharks, and the interest will compound. The descendants of the 22nd century are still unclear. His descendants are my boss, and it is in order to change the destiny of his future descendants that I came to this era to train him to become an outstanding adult. Nobita. Doraemon. What you said is really too much. Doraemon. This is a fact. Seeing this, everyone was instantly speechless. They also thought about the lofty purpose of a person from the future traveling to the past, and this was the result. The compound interest will not be repaid until 2 centuries later. How can we owe this? Bruce Wayne was shocked by this ability to owe money. Naruto World. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. Tsunade, I say you should take this opportunity to quit gambling, otherwise sooner or later you will end up like this boy named Nobita. Idiot. I'm not exaggerating. Tsunade shouted angrily after hearing this. When did her gambling debts reach such a high level, not to mention she couldn't even pay them back? Ancient One. However, I have a question. If you change the fate of people in the past, won't it have any impact on the world line? Ancient One is confused about Doraemon traveling through the past and changing the fate of others. She is proficient in the magic of using the time stone to change time. So it's clear what the consequences of changing the time at will be. He was very confused about Doraemon's behavior. Doraemon. No, Nobita is just an ordinary person. Whether his future changes or not will not have much impact on the world line. If it really involves major future changes, I would have been arrested by the Space-Time Patrol. Quote. Nick Fury. You also have a police department that specializes in time travel. Doraemon. Of course. In the future, there will be many criminals who cross the timeline and try to change the future to make huge profits. Departments like the Time Patrol are needed to maintain the timeline. Tony Stark. I didn't expect that the technology in your world would develop to such a powerful level. How great it would be if I could live in your world. Tony Stark is not just talking nonsense, but he is really yearning for the world of Doraemon. He thought he had reached the pinnacle of science, but after seeing Doraemon, his cognition was greatly subverted. He was very curious about how far he could develop if he were in that 22nd century. Sir, we have arrived at our destination. At this time, the romantic stewardess came over and said. Okay, thank you. Tony Stark immediately stood up. Taj. In a rare move, Ji Yi shook his fan faster. Because it doesn't have a big impact, it won't be punished by time. The laws of time in their world are really interesting. Asgard. Thor looked at Doraemon's words with a confused expression. In his mind, he was still replaying the story of Doraemon turning his lies into truth. If it happened to me, there would be no other end than being toyed with. I hate this kind of weapon. It's not fair at all. Men should compete openly. Thor said with an unhappy expression. Hee hee. Loki laughed disdainfully after hearing this. Why waste effort when others can easily defeat you? But Loki wanted such an artifact very much. Lies come true, which is very suitable for a god of trickery like him. Boom. At this moment, an explosion occurred in Asgard's palace, attracting everyone's attention. Enemy attack. There is an enemy attack. A guard shouted anxiously. What? Odin screamed in shock after hearing this, and then burst out with violent killing intent. How dare you attack Asgard? Court death. DC Universe. Bruce Wayne lowered his head in thought and looked into a small alley not far away. The death of his parents and the dark alley have always been memories that he can't forget. If he could really bring his parents back to life, he would do whatever it takes. Lies come true. It's a pity that I can't get it. If I could study it, well, how is it possible? Bruce Wayne is now particularly yearning for the magical and unpredictable technological world of Doraemon, where cause and effect can be changed. This is entirely the field that scientists yearn for the most. After Bruce Wayne thought of this, he looked at the mirror next to him. On the other side of the mirror, there were actually a group of hostages suppressed by robbers. The leader of this group of robbers was Bruce Wayne's old rival Bane. Now he stays in the mirror world through the power of Knight Rider, ready to attack at any time. Beep. At this moment, the Darkwing Bat flew to Batman's side, looked at the person outside the mirror, and screamed. No, I can't let you eat people. Even if they are criminals, it's not your turn to eat them casually, otherwise there will be a lot of trouble. Batman understands that the Darkwing Bat wants to eat people. It is better to be eaten by monsters than to kill himself. This is what he thinks. But he was afraid that once he started doing this, he would use this kind of thing as an excuse to kill people in the future, and gradually lose his original intention. Become a murderer no different from a criminal. That's why he hoped to restrict the Darkwing Bat from eating people. Beep. Upon hearing this, the Darkwing Bat screamed in dissatisfaction. Blood-red eyes stared at Batman. I will prepare other animals for you to replace, please bear with me. Batman will not be frightened by this monster, but instead scolds it as its master. Only then did Darkwing Bat reluctantly agree. Batman then jumps out of the mirror and attacks the criminals outside. With the power of Knight Rider and the assistance of Darkwing Bat, no one can resist Batman. Even Bane is no longer a match for Batman. On the contrary, starting tonight, there is another mysterious legend about Batman. Wearing medieval armor and a black cloak, he is raising giant bats. The fear of Batman further enveloped the entire Gotham. Naruto world. Naruto stared at the screen blankly, not knowing what he was thinking. What's wrong, Naruto, we have to leave? Jiraiya asked confused. Now that Tsunade has decided to go back to being Hokage, they have to return to the village. Nothing. Naruto shook his head and pretended to be brave. He may want to get that lie to come true and resurrect his parents. Tsunade walked over and whispered. Jiraiya was stunned for a moment after hearing this, then nodded, couldn't help but sigh, looked at Naruto sadly, and didn't know what to say. Jiraiya, if you get such a magical thing, what would you do? Tsunade actually had the same idea as Naruto. She was a little curious about what an old and frivolous person like Jiraiya would do with it. If it were me, of course I would let the young lady accompany me to drink without paying. Jiraiya immediately put on a perverted look and thought about all kinds of good things. This made Tsunade almost want to punch him. Just kidding. Just kidding. After sensing Tsunade's murderous intention, Jiraiya quickly returned to his seriousness and coughed twice symbolically. Ahem. If it were me, I'm afraid I would hope that there would be no war in the world. When Jiraiya said this, his eyes were full of sadness, looking at the sky, and I don't know what he remembered. Hey! Lecherous immortal, Grandma Tsunade. We're leaving, what are you doing? Naruto shouted at Jiraiya and Tsunade. The two saw that Naruto seemed to have recovered, and they smiled helplessly and followed immediately. One Piece world. This item is so magical, it will come true. If I get such a treasure, everyone's dream will come true. Usopp said with a longing look. Stupid, if dreams can be realized so easily, what's the point of living? However, Zoro sang a different tune. He didn't want such an easy way to realize his dreams. You're right, dreams are only interesting if you work hard for them. Luffy said with a smile. Usopp just shrugged helplessly after hearing this, he was used to it. Navy headquarters. Akainu looked at the screen with a heated expression. If we had this kind of tool that makes lies come true, there would be no more pirates in this world. Right, Marshal. Akainu looked at Sengoku excitedly and said. Although he knew very well that he couldn't get it, he still couldn't help but have this idea. Sengoku nodded, looking like he didn't know what he was thinking. Just not having pirates is not enough. If we have this, we might have the power to fight against the celestial dragons. Warring States restrained himself from speaking out. His idea was very dangerous and should not be known. Dragon Ball World. What an amazing scientific tool. If I have this, I won't be afraid of Saiyans anymore. Sun Wuhan looked yearning, his eyes shining with stars. TCH, don't be stupid, there is no such thing in our world. Piccolo turned his face away in displeasure. This terrifying prop made him feel a strong threat, which made him particularly unhappy. Leo World. After Feng Yuan learned about the magic of this prop, she couldn't calm down her excitement. With this, the dead can be resurrected and his hometown can reappear. Captain, do you think we have a chance to have such a magical prop? Feng Yuan asked excitedly. He knew that his idea was unrealistic, but he still hoped to hold on to a chance of survival. It is impossible for us to make this kind of prop that changes cause and effect, not even the Kingdom of Light can do it. The stars immediately shook their heads. His eyes were full of shock. He originally thought that the technology of the Kingdom of Light was the pinnacle of the universe, an existence that the Earth could not look up to. But I didn't expect that the Earth in another universe could be so terrifying. On such an Earth, I am afraid that even the Kingdom of Light is no match. Captain, I remember you said that you can go to other universes by gathering all the power of the Kingdom of Light, then. Feng Yuan was a little unwilling to give up and remembered what Zhu Xingtuan had said. Feng Yuan, do you have a way to find Doraemon's universe? If you rush to other universes, you may not only get lost, but you may never come back. Zhu Xingtuan immediately understood Feng Yuan's thoughts and quickly shouted loudly. Only then did Feng Yuan wake up. What we can do now is deal with the current problems. The Earth is still in danger, so we have to focus our energy here. Zhu Xingtuan persuaded with earnest words. Feng Yuan also understood this truth and could only nod and put away this immature idea. Doraemon world. Doraemon, what should I do with such terrible glasses? Nobita asked. The uncle has been cured and his memory has been erased. The problem now is how to solve the glasses. Well, as long as no one wears this kind of thing, just seal it up and don't let anyone take it out for the rest of your life. After Doraemon finished speaking, he took out a safe and threw the 3D glasses into it. This is a special safe. Even missiles cannot blow it open. It cannot be opened without a password. After Doraemon finished speaking, he set the password and put the safe away. That'll be fine. Seeing this, Nobita breathed a sigh of relief. Then he picked up the magic book on the ground, his eyes flashing continuously. Is this magic? I wonder if there is any magic that can help me complete my homework. When he thought that he would be able to complete his homework with magic and perform in front of Shizuka in the future, Nobita smiled and imagined a bright future. Marble Brooklyn Avenue. The 3D glasses are successfully contained. The host receives a reward and summons the monsters in the world transmitted by the 3D glasses to assist. It can be completely controlled. There is no upper limit on the number of summons. After receiving this reward, Xie Yun felt that there was some extra information in his mind. Then come out and show me one. As soon as Xie Yun finished speaking, the space next to him was distorted, and then a monster walked out. It was the monster that could only be seen with 3D glasses. It's really scary. Only after seeing this kind of monster did Xie Yun realize how scary it was. Couldn't help but touch him. Logically speaking, this monster would attack whenever it saw a human being, but no matter how Xie Yun touched him, it would not show any disrespect. Let's go back. Xie Yun waved his hand, and as soon as he finished speaking, the monster disappeared on the spot. At this point the prediction video continues. Now predict the appearance of the next containment object. The cold voice sounded from the screen again. Then a strange pattern appeared. It is a humanoid monster with gray skin, no clothes, and looks very thin. But this monster covered his face with his hands and seemed to be crying. The shelter has encountered many monsters, and the one that impressed them the most and caused the most headaches was this monster, codenamed Shy Ghost. As for why it is called this, it is because it is too shy. As long as someone sees his appearance, even if it is a photo, he will go crazy and kill anyone who sees his face. Quote. After the sound ends, the picture on the screen switches. This so-called shy ghost appeared in a town in an unknown country. It sat on the ground, covering its face and not knowing what it was doing. Attracting the attention of many passers-by. Hello, what's wrong with you? A kind man walked over and asked. Hey, stay out of the way. As a result, a few reckless guys came over and kicked Bashful to the ground, triggering a subsequent nightmare. Let me see who dares to run naked here. These gangsters, who are like spirited young men, actually raised their shy faces in a desperate attempt to kill themselves. Ha ha ha. You look so ugly. After seeing the shy guy's face, these gangsters laughed out loud. Ah 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 ah. The next second, the shy ghost let out an extremely penetrating scream, and then directly raised his arm and pierced one of the gangsters with a claw. Before the other gangsters could react, it waved its claws crazily, crushing them all into pieces of meat. Let these gangsters seeking death get the punishment they deserve. The people around were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. They couldn't react to the sudden massacre and stood there blankly looking at the shy guy. At this moment, the shy look is completely exposed to the public's view. I felt that countless people were looking at me, which greatly stimulated the shy person. It roared with great fury, and ran towards the nearest person at nearly the speed of sound, waving its claws to massacre. Help! Kill people! The surrounding people were frightened by this scene and scattered and fled. Only a few people dared to stop him, but they were no match for the shy guy. He was killed instantly. After the shy ghost kills one, he goes after the next one. He will not stop until he kills everyone who sees his face. Even if he is hiding in a car or across a house, he can dismantle it, capture the people inside and kill them. Another small town turned into an Asura hell due to the containment. The shy guy kills people very quickly. In less than half an hour, the entire street and even the houses are covered with corpses. However, this is not the end, there are far more people who see his appearance. Just as the shy man left the street, the police finally dared to come and shoot at the shy man, and even took out rocket launchers and grenades. However, there are so many powerful weapons that cannot stop the shy ghost from advancing. He couldn't even scratch the shy guy's fur. Instead, he made the shy guy even angrier and accelerated his speed. He instantly plunged into the crowd of police officers and carried out ruthless killings. In the blink of an eye, corpses were everywhere, and severed limbs were scattered everywhere. No matter how many police officers come or how many high-powered weapons they bring, they can't stop the shy guy at all. On the contrary, the more police come, the more people die. Without police protection, citizens are even less able to protect themselves. 3 hours later, this small town was completely reduced to a dead city. As far as the eye could see, there were corpses. However, this is not the end, but the beginning of a more terrifying nightmare. Shy Ghost's ruthless killing has been filmed and spread on the internet. During this time, countless people clicked to view it, and even TV stations promoted it. The number of people who see Shy Ghosts is impossible to count. The Shy Ghost is a monster that will kill anyone whose face it sees. Even if the other party sees the photo from a long distance, or it is just a portrait, or even a pixel-level photo. They will all be sensed by Shy Ghosts, and then they will be found and killed. It is useless no matter how far away they dare to hide. Now that the shy guy felt that tens of millions of people saw his face, he yelled crazily at the sky, and then disappeared in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately afterwards, the buildings nearby suddenly collapsed. This is a feat accomplished by a shyster moving at high speeds. The further away the target is, the faster the shy guy will be. The current speed of Shy Ghost is already dozens of times the speed of sound, but this terrifying speed is still accelerating. Gradually break through to 100 times. Now it no longer needs to do it by itself. The impact caused by this terrifying speed is enough to crush any living thing. This is why no known physical material on Earth can stop a shy person. The shy guy just kept running through buildings, trampling on anything in his way, looking for the group of people who saw his face. Shy Ghost killed countless people along the way. If someone looked down at this country from above, they would see blood and corpses everywhere. Those victims would never have imagined that they would be killed just by browsing its photos. After the top leaders of the country learned about such a terrible phenomenon, they immediately mobilized the army to stop the Shy Ghosts. Tanks, aircraft, artillery, missiles, any weapon with terrifying power, call them all. Boom. The picture was full of gunfire and smoke. Many tanks and fighter jets were firing at the same location. After all the shells were fired, the army stopped and looked at the explosion, wondering if the monster was dead. The unbelievable result is that a skeleton is slowly coming out. The skeleton is constantly growing blood, flesh and skin, reassembling the appearance of the Shy Ghost. This monster's vitality is so terrifying that it can regenerate even if only its bones are left after being blown up. The combination of terrifying regeneration ability, astonishing speed, and powerful destructive power makes Shy Ghost almost invincible. Keep going. Don't stop. The soldiers were frightened by this terrifying monster and continued to fire and reload their ammunition crazily. However, their efforts only temporarily delayed the Shy Ghost, but could not stop it from killing at all. The last day passed, and the entire country became a purgatory, with 99% of the population exterminated. The killings reached such an extent that the Shy Guy didn't feel the sight of others at all, so he stopped and continued to cover his face in grief. This country completely disappeared from the map and became the dust of history. Then the shelter finally appeared. Faced with such a terrifying monster, they had no way to fight against it. They could only wait for the Shy Ghost to kill everyone. And control any transmission channels and wait until it stops before containing it. In the end, in order to test the limits of shy people, the shelter specially arranged for people to see photos of shy people in space. However, something incredible happened. The Shy Ghost actually ran into space to find that person, demolished the space capsule that could withstand nuclear bombs, captured the person inside and mercilessly eliminated him. Subsequently, all experiments with the Shy Ghost were terminated and no images of the Shy Ghost could be transmitted. Once someone sees a shy person, that person must be dealt with before things get worse. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. What a terrifying monster this was. Doraemon World. Ah. Doraemon, we have seen what this monster looks like. Will he appear? Nobita was frightened. When had he ever seen such a terrifying monster? Others also had the same idea. They saw the Shy Guy. Isn't that very dangerous? Viewers in front of the screen can rest assured that this screen will not trigger the abnormal conditions of shy people. Everyone relaxed after hearing this, but they couldn't feel at ease either. Nobita was stunned by such a terrifying scene, which made Doraemon particularly anxious. Nick Fury. What a terrifying creature this is. It can wipe out an entire country in one day. Bruce Wayne. It's not just that simple. As long as someone continues to spread its photos, the whole world will be dragged into hell by it. Tony Stark. In a society with developed internet, it is so easy to spread photos to the ends of the earth. And its speed can easily exceed 100 times the speed of sound. Coupled with its indestructible body, it is fully capable of annihilating the entire world. Planet. Zhu Xingluan. It can be found no matter how far away it is, and it can also rush into space. Doesn't this mean that it can be hunted down even from distant alien planets? Thor. Hey. You don't mean to say that this thing has the ability to destroy the universe, do you? Vegeta. Don't be ridiculous. There are countless creatures in the universe that are more powerful than people on Earth. Just because people on Earth can't deal with them doesn't mean we can't. Your toys are not a threat at all in my eyes. Diana. Indeed, I'm not afraid of cannons, missiles or anything like that. If I encounter such a creature, there may be a way to destroy it. Bruce Wayne. Who are you for speaking so loudly? Diana. It's none of your business. Don't ask about women's secrets. Thor. Haha, if this thing dares to run to Asgard, I will definitely beat it to death. The comments on the screen were polarized. Some thought the Shy Ghost was very scary, while others thought that the people on Earth were too weak and did not take the Shy Ghost seriously. When Nick Fury saw these comments, he immediately thought of his friend Carol. She is also an existence that cannot be eliminated by any means on Earth. So Nick Fury kept pressing the call machine hard, fearing that this Shy Guy would appear on their Earth and no one could stop him. Only by calling Carol back could he have a way to fight. Natasha. What does that voice mean by getting rid of that person first? Is it true that when we encounter such a monster, we can only get rid of all the people who see him? Naruto. What? This is too much. They are the victims, why kill them? Akainu. Then do you have a way to stop it? If there is no way to eliminate this monster, this is the only way. Naruto. What a joke. I don't agree with this method. Warring states. I understand your feelings, kid, but sometimes reality has to compromise like this. In the Naruto world, Naruto looked at the screen unwillingly. Is this the only way? What kind of method is this? Naruto, don't be nervous. At this time, Jiraiya stroked Naruto's head to comfort him. Don't forget that we have become stronger now. I have the power of the Six-Path Sage. If we encounter such a monster, we can do everything we can to fight it. Yes. After hearing this, Naruto immediately showed excitement. I can use the power of the nine tails now. I don't believe that the monster is more powerful than the nine tails. Naruto said excitedly. Jiraiya was slightly relieved to see Naruto recover, but he still looked worried. He always felt that even the power of the six-path sage would be difficult to fight against a monster as scary as the shy ghost. Now let's predict the universe where the shy ghost will appear. Hearing this, everyone was very alert and worried about where the shy ghost would appear. Pirate World. Marine Headquarters. Hey, what should we do if we encounter this thing? Kizaru asked worriedly. Cover your eyes and fight with your observation haki. Try your best to kill it, and if it doesn't work, prepare for the worst. Sengoku was sweating profusely and didn't know what to do. On the Thousand Sunny. Ah. This kind of creature should not appear in our world. Usopp and Chopper shouted anxiously. No wonder Usopp and Chopper were so scared, that monster was really scary. Even the three giants couldn't stay calm. Leo World. Feng Yuan took a deep breath. If the shy ghost really appeared, he would immediately transform into Leo and take the thing away to prevent anyone from seeing it. Then he would kill it with the L-77 ray. He didn't believe that the L-77 ray, which could destroy a planet at full power, couldn't kill this thing. If it didn't work, he would add the King Ken. Doraemon World. Doraemon, what should we do if this thing appears in our world? Nobita was so scared that he sat up and shouted. Don't be afraid, I can use the like come true mouth to say that no one actually saw it. If it doesn't work, I have other props to use. Doraemon said confidently. Nobita was relieved immediately after hearing this. It was indeed much more reliable with Doraemon around. Then he saw Doraemon sorting his pockets. What are you doing? Sorting props, so that I can find things. Nobita was worried again after hearing this. Marvel World. Kamar Taj. Master, what should we do if this kind of monster appears? Strange asked anxiously. It's very simple. As long as it appears and has not caused any harm, I can lock it up in other dimensions first. Even if it has been noticed by others, I can erase its memory. Ancient One said calmly. She has thought of several solutions, but of course she has to try them to know if they work. Strange was relieved after hearing this. He is worthy of being the supreme sorcerer who has protected the earth for many years. He is reliable. Shield. Nick Fury is summoning people from the technical department to monitor all computers. Everyone, pay attention. Once a scary monster picture appears on the internet, it must be deleted, even if it is hacked into someone else's computer. Nick Fury said so. However, everyone was confused after hearing this. Why do you have to do this? And there are so many monster pictures on the internet. How can you delete them? My god, your order is really not targeted and logical. Aren't you afraid that they will see that thing and be hunted down? Just then Tony Stark walked in and looked at Nick Fury with disdain. Hey, how did you get in? Didn't I say I would wait for me in the reception room? Nick Fury said unhappily. It's very simple. Just give your people a few autographs, take a photo, and give them VIP cards for the guest house. Tony Stark said, and waved to Coulson and other agents, letting them leave awkwardly. I have asked Jarvis to monitor all networks. Jarvis is an artificial intelligence. That thing can't be killed at all. Leave it to me. Tony Stark patted Nick Fury's shoulder and comforted him. What if someone sees it up close? Nick Fury asked. Actually, I have an idea. Don't we have a monster that will break the opponent's neck if you look away? Tony Stark pointed to the ground and said. You mean the statue? Nick Fury immediately understood what Tony Stark meant. Yes, it's worth a try. Tony Stark nodded. These two things are quite interesting. One will die if you look away, and the other will die if you look at it. What will happen if the two extremes meet? This intrigued Tony Stark. 600th World. Batman has captured Bane and the others and handed them over to Gordon. Batman really has a bat. And he's changed his image. And he'll show up in the mirror. He is not human. Yes, get in the car quickly. Gordon looked helplessly at this group of criminals. They were all mentally ill and their words were not worthy of trust at all. At this time, Batman stood on the roof of the building looking at the screen, thinking about what to do if he met a shy guy. The safest way is to drag it to the mirror world. I don't believe it can escape from the mirror world. Batman immediately thought of this method, but of course it would be best if it never had to be implemented. The universe where Shy Guy will appear as the Dragon Ball universe. When you see Shy Guy through the screen, no image will appear. As soon as he finished speaking, the screen immediately switched. It's in a lively city in the Dragon Ball universe. Seeing this, Piccolo, Sun Wukong and Sun Wuhan's expressions changed instantly. Gohan, let's go. Piccolo immediately flew up, and Sun Wuhan quickly followed suit. At this time, someone in that city had already noticed Shy Ghost. They all thought something had happened to it, so they went over to ask. However, no matter how many people shouted, the Shy Guy would not react and refused to move his hands and show his face. Hey, what on earth do you do? Stay out of the way. At this time, a grumpy old man walked up and kicked the Shy Ghost down with dissatisfaction, causing its face to be seen by everyone. Seeing this scene, Piccolo and Sun Wukong's faces became even more ugly. Ah! Under the screams of the Shy Guy, a ruthless killing took place in the Dragon Ball universe. Help! Killed! Do not come! Bang bang bang! In this strange city, Shy Ghosts are killing everyone. Anyone who noticed its appearance was killed, and turned into countless pieces of corpses scattered in every corner of the street. The originally peaceful streets were now dyed blood red. What kind of monster is this? In a corner, there was a man holding a mobile phone to record the fight between Shy Ghosts. He now really wants to post this video online, which will definitely cause an uproar, and he will also become a noticeable presence. So he was about to release the video. Boom. As a result, his cell phone suddenly exploded in the next second, leaving his face covered in black and gray. Idiot, we can't let you escalate the situation. I saw Piccolo and Son Gohan falling from the sky, floating in the air, and then Piccolo flashed, and any mobile phone, camera or other photography equipment around them suddenly exploded and could no longer be used. Seeing this, many viewers commented. Naruto, is this a human? Why is it flying? Sun Wukong, his name is Piccolo. He is a very powerful guy. He can fly because he uses the Wukong technique. This is a technique that allows you to control your air to fly. Tony Stark, let yourself fly. How is this possible? You have to fight gravity. Sun Wukong, indeed, but as long as the chi is strong enough. Ancient One, what's the matter? I can fly on my own power. Feng Yuan, I can do it if I become Leo. Tony Stark simply shut up when he saw this. There are too many things happening now that are beyond common sense, so it would be better for him to say nothing. Naruto World. Lovable immortal, can we also use chakra to fly? Naruto said expectantly. I remember that some ninjutsu can actually do this. Jiraiya didn't deny it. Can you teach me then? Naruto immediately said excitedly, it felt so cool to fly around. Jiraiya was about to refuse, then suddenly had a second thought. It just so happened that Naruto needed to practice the power of controlling the 9 tails, so he might as well agree to it. When Naruto heard this, he immediately danced happily. One Piece World. Navy Headquarters. Control chi to make yourself fly. Can our Haki also do it? If possible, it wouldn't be as troublesome as Moon Step, and it would be faster. Kizaru said with some inspiration. He just mentioned it casually. Anyway, for him, who can turn into light and fly, this is nothing. It's really interesting. After hearing this, Sengoku raised his eyebrows. This seemed like something he could consider studying, and then continued to look at the screen. Nick Fury. Why does this person look so much like a Skrull? Are you an alien? Piccolo. I don't know what a Skrull is. Vegeta. Haha, isn't this the Namekian? No wonder Raditz died. Piccolo. What did you say? Vegeta. As far as I know, the Namekians have many powerful beings, but they are as weak as flies in my eyes. Let's take this opportunity to see how capable you are. Piccolo. Haha, thank you for telling me where my hometown is. Don't worry, after I get rid of this thing, you will be next. Sun Wukong. It turns out that Piccolo is an alien. No wonder I feel different from Earthlings. Natasha. Are you kidding? This doesn't look like a human from Earth. Sun Wukong. No, there are many races on our Earth, and there are people who look like animals. As soon as Sun Wukong uttered these words, there was a standing and walking tiger wearing clothes on the screen, spitting out fragrance and running away. This scene left many people confused. Ancient One. It seems that the Earth in the Dragon Ball universe is very rich in species. Sun Wukong. Let's not talk about this anymore. Isn't this Gohan? We haven't seen each other for a year and he has become stronger. Sun Wufan. Dad, are you coming back soon? Sun Wukong. Hurry up, Snake Dao is very long, he can't reach the Earth that fast. Strange. You are running to Earth from wherever you are. Sun Wukong. Underworld. Sun Wukong's speech became more and more incomprehensible, leaving many people with questions on their faces. Piccolo didn't bother to pay attention to the bunch of questions on the screen, and flew directly towards the Shy Guy who stopped. It seems that Shy Ghost has killed the last person who saw him, and is sitting there sobbing. Go to hell. Piccolo had already flown to Shy Guy's side and kicked him away. The force of this kick was so strong that it knocked Shy Guy through several buildings. However, this could not kill the Shy Ghost. It roared and ran out, looking at Piccolo angrily. The two sides' eyes met, and Piccolo could clearly see the Shy look. At this moment, there is another person on the Shy Guy's must-kill list. Shy Ghost angrily rushed towards Piccolo. Bruce Wayne. What is he doing? Why did he suddenly attack? Didn't you see on the screen that you would be angered by his appearance? Tony Stark. That's right. If it were me, I would just lock him up. Even if I attack, I would have to avoid eye contact. Sengoku. Maybe it's because he is very conceited and thinks he can destroy this monster. Tsunade. This is too reckless. Piccolo. I'm too lazy to talk to you so much. I still have Saiyans to fight against, and I don't have time to leave another monster here. After Piccolo finished saying this, Shy Guy rushed up and attacked with his claws. Piccolo quickly raised his arm to block Shy Guy's arm, preventing his claws from falling, and then punched the opponent's chin. So hard. It felt particularly hard, which made Piccolo frown. He thought that there was nothing on Earth that he could not break, but this Shy Guy's bones were very unusual. Aha! In the next second, Piccolo quickly kicked Shy Guy in the chest with greater force, kicking him further away. After the Shy Ghost flew 100 meters away, it spun twice in the air and then stopped. Then it continued to run towards Piccolo in the air while howling. This time he was faster than before. A violent gust of wind arose. Piccolo's right arm was seen expanding to gather energy, and then he slapped it out with a palm, erupting into a very powerful shock wave, covering the whole body of the Shy Ghost. Boom, boom, boom. The shock wave was so powerful that it destroyed all the buildings behind it. When the shock wave disappeared, huge cracks were torn into the ground. The Shy Guy is no longer where he was. Snort. Piccolo didn't just think he had won. He could still feel Shy Guy's energy, so he immediately put his hands together and compressed the huge amount of energy into it. Piccolo keeps compressing energy in his hands. This is his most powerful trick, Fierce Light Bomb. At this time, the Shy Ghost appeared in Piccolo's sight again. It was covered with wounds, but it was healing rapidly, and it still maintained its posture to catch people, looking extremely ferocious. In just a blink of an eye, Shy Guy ran in front of Piccolo and was about to pounce on him. Regret coming to this world. Piccolo roared, and at the same time, intense light bullets were fired. Hit the Shy Guy directly in the chest, sending it flying to a particularly far away place, and then causing an explosion. Boom, boom, boom. An extremely violent explosion appeared. The scale of the explosion was terrifying, enough to cover an entire city. Not to mention the power, it blew away the clouds in the sky. If Piccolo hadn't used intense light bombs to take it out of the city, it would have affected countless people. Many people expressed shock when they saw this. Sun Wukong. Awesome. Piccolo, you have become stronger. Piccolo, do you think I've been lazy and sleeping this whole year? Warring states, how can it be so powerful? Jiraiya. Oh my god. One Piece world. The Straw Hat Pirates were dumbfounded. They thought that the range of a big explosion like Fire Fist Ace was enough to shock, but the power of the intense light bomb used by Piccolo was even more terrifying. Navy headquarters. Warring states and the other two generals didn't look much better. Hey, Akainu, can you achieve such power? Warring states asked immediately. Akainu shook his head quickly. It's a pity that I can't do it, and I feel that if I were exposed to such power, I might not be able to escape even if I turned into lava. Akainu's face was heavy and sweat was pouring down his face. The only ones who can resist such power are the Yonko and Garp. Warring States said with a very serious expression. Naruto world. What terrible power is this? Jiraiya looked in disbelief at the devastation Piccolo was causing. There is absolutely no way any of his ninjutsu, even senjutsu, can do such terrible damage. Only Kyuubi's tailed beast Jade can rival it. Fortunately, there are no such monsters in our world, otherwise we would be in trouble. Tsunade said extremely solemnly. Jiraiya had to nod in agreement. At this time, the Dragon Ball world. After Piccolo used a lot of force to use the intense light bomb, he looked at the place where the explosion occurred. I used most of my power, I should be able to eliminate it. Just when Piccolo thought this, his expression suddenly changed. What? How is this possible? Piccolo suddenly felt a very terrible anger. This was the anger of a shy person, but it was many times more terrifying than before. I saw an extremely violent storm blowing ahead, with amazing power, blowing away everything it touched, and even buildings would collapse. And in the middle of the storm is the shy guy. It was now a pile of bones, hurtling towards Piccolo at speeds exceeding the speed of sound. When he came to Piccolo, all his muscles had grown. How can it be? The terrifying vitality of this monster exceeds Piccolo's expectations. Although he also has amazing regenerative abilities, he is not at the level of a shy guy. He asked himself that if he withstood the intense light bullets he fired, he would definitely not be able to survive, but why could this thing survive with only bones left? Ah! The shy ghost didn't care about that, he just went crazy and waved his claws wildly to attack Piccolo. Boom! This time, Piccolo was shot directly into the ground, creating a very deep and huge tunnel. Can't see clearly what's going on with Piccolo. Boom! Just when Shy Guy was about to jump into the hole, Piccolo flew out of the land next to him and looked at Shy Guy in shock. That slap the Shy Guy gave him just now almost killed him. The Shy Guy wouldn't give Piccolo any chance to react. When he saw that Piccolo was still alive, he immediately chased after him. His claws turned into phantoms and crazily covered his whole body. Piccolo was forced to quickly retreat while resisting. And the Shy Guy followed closely behind. Even if Piccolo flies into the air, he can't get rid of it. Fortunately, Shy Ghost's power this time was not as strong as before, allowing Piccolo to resist. Piccolo can still block Shy Guy's attack at first. But Shy Ghost's attack speed is constantly increasing. In addition, Shy Ghost's attack methods are very random, crazy and unpredictable. It was extremely difficult to just keep up with the movements, putting Piccolo at a sudden disadvantage. I don't believe I can't beat you. After Piccolo roared angrily, he directly counterattacked regardless of defense. He went through the Shy Guy's offensive with punches, kicks, elbows and knees, and frantically attacked the Shy Guy's body at what seemed to be the most vulnerable parts. Piccolo's attack power should not be underestimated. Every move is enough to blast the Shy Guy's muscles. But Shy Guy's injuries will recover instantly. And its physical strength seems to be unlimited. On the other hand, Piccolo suffered more and more injuries from being caught by Shy Ghost. His regeneration ability requires physical strength, and fighting requires wear and tear. This leads to his increasing disadvantage. Gradually, defense became less important than counterattack and began to be at a disadvantage. Piccolo is now covered in serious injuries, his blood is constantly flowing out, and his breath is getting weaker. Uncle Piccolo. Sun Wuhan was extremely anxious when he saw this scene. He quickly flew over and knocked the Shy Guy away with his headbutt. Ah! The Shy Guy was extremely dissatisfied with Gohan, who came to cause trouble, and slapped him away without taking him seriously. But this moment also gave Piccolo a chance to counterattack. He did a backflip, then kicked Shy Guy in the chest with both feet, sending him flying into the air. Then Piccolo immediately followed. I roughly understand what your destructive power is. The farther away you are, the faster you are and the greater your power. As long as you stay close to you, your power can be controlled to a certain extent. Piccolo quickly analyzed the fierce battle and grasped the key points of the Shy Ghost's power improvement. The further away the Shy Ghost is, the more helpful it will be. Only at close range can this problem be avoided. After Piccolo flew below Shy Guy, he grabbed his hands together and lifted it up, hitting Shy Guy on the chin, sending it flying higher into the air, and then immediately floated up in front of Shy Guy. Then Piccolo raised his hands, pointed his palms at Shy Guy, and fired light bombs crazily. Teeth ah 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 ah. Boom, boom, boom. Countless light bombs erupted from Piccolo's hands crazily and bombarded the Shy Ghost. The power of each light bomb is close to the previous intense light bomb. Moreover, the power of the explosion did not spread. Instead, Piccolo used his telekinesis to compress it and envelop the Shy Ghost. After firing an unknown number of luminous bombs, Piccolo used his last strength to gather a fierce light bomb, then threw it into the explosion circle, and then quickly landed on the ground. Boom! A big explosion far more terrifying than the previous intense light bomb appeared. The astonishing explosion wave swept around like a tornado, and a dazzling light replaced the sun to illuminate the area. Fortunately, Piccolo knocked it into the air, otherwise the power of this blow would have been enough to destroy the area around the city. Many viewers were stunned when they saw such a terrifying explosion, unable to even imagine the terrifying power. Navy Headquarters. Sengoku, Akainu and Kizaru's faces are particularly ugly now. The power and scale of the big explosion on the screen made them frightened. If any one of them suffered this attack, they would probably die. Even if he faced the 4 emperors, he would still be seriously injured. Why is this person from the Dragon Ball universe so scary? He doesn't seem to be human. When Kizaru spoke, he was panting a little, trying his best to suppress his nervousness. Record the way this Piccolo controls energy and see if we can imitate and learn from it. Warring States immediately gave the order. Now is not the time to be scared to death, but to learn as much as possible the more powerful moves from people in other universes. Naruto World. Naruto, Shizune, Jiraiya and Tsunade couldn't stay calm. The destructive power Piccolo showed was truly terrifying. Even if you face Kyuubi, you may be seriously injured. Jiraiya speculated this: what if he turned on the 6-path Sage mode? Can it be safe in the face of Piccolo's all-out attack? This was beyond Jiraiya's imagination. Sun Wukong. Awesome, Piccolo, I didn't expect this to be your true ability. Piccolo. That's natural. Vegeta. Haha, I'm laughing so hard. Is this your full strength? If that's all, you're not my opponent at all. Piccolo. What did you say? Vegeta. I'm not talking nonsense. At this level, let alone me, I can't even beat Nappa, who is weaker than me. Everyone had to take a breath after seeing Vegeta's words. Piccolo's destructive power is so terrifying that Vegeta still doesn't take him seriously. So how terrifying is he himself? Are you bragging? When Piccolo was unhappy with Vegeta's comment and was about to refute it, his expression suddenly became particularly ugly. His pupils were dilated, his eyeballs were trembling, his neck was turning stiffly, and he was looking at the sky. How is it possible? How could such a thing happen? Why is that monster still angry? Sun Wuhan also looked at the sky with a look of fear, his body shaking uncontrollably. I saw a shadow breaking through the smoke and approaching rapidly downwards. Every time it moved, it would set off a violent storm and even make the surrounding air vibrate. Who is this figure if it's not that Shy Guy? Ah. The Shy Ghost howled angrily. Piccolo's attack earlier had destroyed all its muscles, and now it was left with only a pile of skeletons. But the skeleton soon grew flesh and blood, returning to its original appearance as a Shy Ghost. The Shy Guy ran up to Piccolo in less than a second and slapped him with his paw. Boom. The power of this move was particularly terrifying. It sent Piccolo flying and crashed through several buildings before landing. Uncle Piccolo. Son Gohan quickly ran to Piccolo's side. I saw that a large piece of flesh had been dug out of Piccolo's chest. It looked very bad and very uncomfortable. What kind of monster is this? Piccolo stood up in great discomfort and looked at the Shy Guy who was rushing towards him. Now that his physical strength has been exhausted, how can he still have the strength to deal with it? Am I going to die at the hands of this monster before the Saiyans come? Hoo. If I had known earlier, I shouldn't have provoked this thing. Piccolo felt a little regretful now. If he had known that this monster couldn't be killed no matter how hard he fought, it would have been better to just leave him alone in the first place and just lock him up in a cage immediately while he was motionless and no one could see him. But unfortunately, it's too late to regret it now. At this time, the gods are on the other side. The god who looked exactly like Piccolo looked at the situation in the lower world in disbelief. What kind of terrifying monster is that? Even Piccolo is no match for it. Why does it suddenly appear? The more the god spoke, the more frightened he became, and his whole body was trembling. He wanted to see what this monster looked like, but was interrupted by Piccolo, who told him in advance that he couldn't see what it looked like, otherwise he would be hunted here. Seeing the shy ghost's terrifying fighting power now makes the immortal feel lucky. But I can't be happy for long now. If Piccolo dies, he must die too. The gods have long been indifferent, but they are afraid that no one can fight against the invading Saiyans. Piccolo, we must find a way. The gods can only pray like this. Ah. At this time, Shy Ghost has arrived in front of Piccolo and is about to attack him. Don't hurt Uncle Piccolo. When Sun Wuhan saw this, he couldn't help roaring, and then burst out with a powerful force, hitting the Shy Ghost with all his strength, and directly knocked the Shy Ghost away. However, the Shy Guy didn't care at all when faced with Sun Gohan's impact. He did a backflip in the air and landed on the ground, and then continued running towards Piccolo. Turtle-style Qigong. Qigong cannon. Just then there were 3 roars. I saw 2 blue shock waves and 1 yellow shock wave falling from the sky. 3 shock waves hit Shiggy at the same time, causing a big explosion. Who is it? Sun Wuhan had to be stunned when he saw this. HMPH, mind your own business. However, Piccolo could tell who it was at a glance and sneered. Call out. The next second, 4 figures appeared next to Piccolo and Sun Gohan. It is Keelan, Leping, Tianjin Rice and Dumplings. Sorry we're late, we came at full speed when we felt the energy of the battle here. Leping looked at the horrific fighting situation around him, and his face gradually turned ugly. Is that monster a Saiyan? Tianjin Fan asked. No, anyway, you don't want to see its face. As long as someone sees its face, it will chase and kill it no matter how far away it is. It's because I saw its face that I had to fight with it until now. Piccolo reminded as he stood up. What? Are you kidding? Can't you look at your face? Klin was confused after hearing this. If you think I'm joking, just go and watch. This monster will definitely chase you to the ends of the earth. Piccolo scolded in great displeasure. The 4 of them were stunned after hearing this. They looked at Piccolo's injuries and couldn't treat it as child's play. Although they had a bad relationship with Piccolo, they didn't think that the other party would say such things out of nowhere. And being able to play the Piccolo like this is enough to prove how scary the Shy Guy is. At this time, Shy Ghost had already rushed out, howling crazily and running towards Piccolo. As soon as he appeared, everyone else closed their eyes, stopped looking, and used their breath to sense the Shy Ghost's location. Tianjin Fan was the first to attack, using a powerful air cannon. Not to be outdone, Dumpling fired the Dong Dong waves. Klin and Leping also went all out to use turtle-style Qigong. Sun Wuhan also showed his strength at this moment and used the magic flash. Everyone's attacks hit the Shy Ghost at the same time, sending it flying very far. However, their combined attacks were unable to stop Shy Ghost at all, but made Shy Ghost even more angry. I have always wanted to kill Piccolo who saw his face, but why did he encounter such a big obstacle? So Shy Ghost rushed towards him at an extremely terrifying speed, which was many times the speed of sound. The huge kinetic energy pressure crushed everything around him. What? Why is this monster so angry all of a sudden? Klin was so frightened that he almost opened his eyes, sweat dripping down his face. Continue the attack. Leping shouted quickly. Then the 5 people continued to attack the Shy Ghost non-stop. However, no matter how many times they attacked, they could only knock the Shy Ghost farther away and had no fatal effect at all. Piccolo did not attack. He was not only recovering his strength, but also thinking about countermeasures. How do I get rid of this terrible monster? Piccolo's expression was quite ugly. The Saiyan didn't know when he would arrive, but he had no time to distract himself from dealing with this monster, and he didn't want to taste the feeling of being killed. But after much deliberation, I couldn't think of any good way, which made Piccolo look around irritably. Finally looked towards the sun. Wait a minute. Sun. That's right. At this moment, Piccolo thought of a good idea. Although it was very risky, it might be feasible. Everyone fly into the sky and beat this monster away to the sun. After Piccolo finished speaking, he immediately took the initiative to fly up. Others quickly followed after hearing this. Piccolo, you said you wanted to fly into the sky. Krillin screamed in shock. Yes, the energy of the sun can surpass us. I don't believe that this monster can survive after being beaten into the sun. Piccolo said confidently. The monster is catching up. Dumpling pointed at the back and shouted anxiously. I saw the shy ghost chasing everyone in the air in a running posture, still very fast. What a weird way of flying this is. Leping couldn't help but feel surprised after feeling the shy ghost's movements. Now is not the time to worry about this. Piccolo scolded and then accelerated his flying speed, and the others also flew at full speed. Ah! The shy ghost watched Piccolo flying faster and faster, roared angrily, and his own speed also increased. He kept chasing Piccolo, and was bound to eliminate him before he would stop. Piccolo felt the pressure on his back, and sweat continued to form on his forehead. When did he, the mighty Piccolo Demon King, have ever been chased so embarrassingly? Monster. After flying for a while, everyone has arrived outside the Earth's atmosphere. If they continue to fly, they will be completely unable to breathe and their movements will be worse. So he stopped immediately. This is quite cheap. When the shy guy sees the target stop, he immediately pounces on it. Call out. However, in the next second, Piccolo and the others disappeared on the same spot. In the blink of an eye, they appeared behind Shy Guy. At the same time, they punched Shy Guy in the back, sending him flying toward the sun. Launch Qigong waves with all your strength. After Piccolo finished speaking, his whole body swelled violently. Then he smacked his palms hard and launched an extremely powerful Qigong wave. The others also used all their strength to launch Qigong waves at this moment, hitting the shy ghost at the same time. After Shy Guy was hit, he was pushed towards the sun. He wanted to resist. But for a while, he couldn't get rid of such a terrible Qigong wave. I can only keep struggling desperately. The Shy Guy felt extremely angry as he watched himself getting further and further away from Piccolo. His struggle continued to increase, and his strength continued to increase. The shy ghost's anger increased to a certain level, and his own power further increased. Boom. Then Shy Ghost used his own power to forcefully detonate the Qigong wave. The explosion blew it far away, and the muscles in his body shattered and melted, but they also grew rapidly. Just when Shy Guy was about to continue chasing Piccolo, its whole body was surrounded by extremely hot flames, and a huge gravitational force was pulling it back rapidly. It turns out that the Shy Ghost has been brought near the sun and is now being pulled into it by the sun's gravity. The terrifying blazing flames instantly covered the Shy Ghost's body. After Piccolo and the others confirmed that Shy Guy's energy had entered the sun, they immediately flew downwards. The environment here was very bad and it would be too uncomfortable to stay here. Uncle Piccolo, can this monster be eliminated? Sun Wuhan asked worriedly. Okay, the temperature on the surface of the sun exceeds 6,000, let alone the core, which is 16 million tall. I don't believe that monster can withstand the flames of the sun. Piccolo said this, but he always felt fuzzy in his heart, hoping that he was overthinking it. But where did that monster come from? Why have we never heard of it? Tianjin Fan asked doubtfully. I don't know that either. Piccolo didn't explain anything about the containment, so it's useless to talk about it now. No matter what, just solve it. We can use this method to fight against the Saiyan and push him to the sun. Clint said unexpectedly. That may not be successful. They are not stupid and will not be so honest. Piccolo sneered. The success of this plan is more because shy people are not smart. If it were Piccolo himself, he wouldn't have gone all the way to chase him here. Vegeta. Haha, you are right. This trick of deceiving that thing is okay, but it is impossible to deal with me. Piccolo. HMPH, don't be complacent, I have other ways to eliminate you. Sun Wukong. That's right. Piccolo, you must find a way to hold him back. I will get there as soon as possible. Tony Stark. More than this, I want to know where you got so much energy to send that thing to the sun. The sun is very far away. Sun Wukong. It's very simple, just keep firing Qigong. Nick Fury. What kind of explanation is that? Ancient One. The rules of each universe are different. Being too entangled is just asking for trouble. In the Dragon Ball universe, the Saiyan spaceship is gradually approaching the Earth. They should be arriving soon. I thought these containment objects were no big deal, but they turned out to be just a bunch of people. Vegeta said disdainfully. DDDDDD. However, in the next second, Vegeta's combat power detector suddenly increased rapidly. 20,000. 50,000. 100,000. How is that possible? Vegeta saw through the combat power detector that there was an individual with a very huge combat power in the distance. It suddenly exceeded 100,000, and the number was still increasing rapidly. And the position of that body seems to be the sun. Don't tell me that thing is not dead yet. As soon as Vegeta had this idea, he detected that the individual was moving rapidly close to the Earth. Now its combat power has reached hundreds of thousands, putting Vegeta in great fear. How could such a thing happen? Vegeta looked at the numbers on the detector in disbelief. The combat power had reached hundreds of thousands, but it was still soaring. He had only seen such terrifying combat power from Frieza. Vegeta was enveloped in a huge fear when he thought of Frieza. The terrifying number of over 500,000 was enough to keep Vegeta looking up, unable to get even closer. Hey, Vegeta, did you see it? Just then Nappa's voice sounded from the detector. There is something approaching the Earth from the sun, and its combat power is almost as strong as Lord Frieza. What's going on? Nappa's voice was extremely frightened. How could such a terrifying monster suddenly appear? Then should they continue to get closer to the Earth? Vegeta didn't know how to answer right now. He, who had always been proud, felt extremely fearful at this moment. Shy Guy, what kind of terrifying creature is this? On the Earth. After Piccolo and the others landed, they all noticed Shy Guy's anger and looked at the sky with frightened expressions. Oh my god, what kind of monster is that? Why isn't that guy dead yet? Clem was shaking so hard that his teeth were chattering. How is that possible? That's the sun. Why can't it burn him to death? Leping's pupils were trembling constantly, unable to believe this horrific fact. When they were shocked, a fireman fell from the sky and hit the ground like a meteorite. Boom, boom, boom. This collision caused quite a stir. The terrifying impact spread around like a tornado, destroying everything around it and lifting up the Earth. Under this terrible impact, no one knows how many people died on the spot. After all the commotion ended, everything within a radius of countless kilometers was covered with ruins. With this terrifying lethality, not even Piccolo could remain calm. A terrifyingly familiar roar sounded, and a burning skeleton stood in a huge crater and roared to the sky. Then the flames disappeared strangely, and the skeleton grew muscles crazily and returned to its original appearance as a shy ghost. Don't look at its face. Piccolo immediately alerted the others. Clint and the others quickly lowered their heads so as not to look at the Shy Guy's face. Then Piccolo immediately looked over and met the Shy Ghost's violent murderous intent. When the Shy Guy saw Piccolo, he immediately rushed over. Although it is not as terrifying as the speed when it fell from the sky just now, the energy burst out is definitely higher than Piccolo or even Vegeta. Seeing this, all the spectators were frightened. Tony Stark, how is this possible? The surface of the sun is thousands of degrees, even closer to more than hundreds of thousands, and the core is 16 million degrees Celsius. How can it not burn this monster to death? Nick Fury, even if you don't believe it, there's nothing you can do. This is the fact. Human power is simply unable to fight against this monster. Luffy, the sun has a temperature of 16 million. Is it so powerful? It's even more powerful than Ace. Kizaru. In this case, even Akainu's lava can't destroy this monster. Warring States. Fortunately, this kind of monster did not appear in our world, otherwise we would be dead. Warring States didn't dare to breathe now. He still wanted to defeat or control the contained objects and get huge rewards. But now it seems that it is better not to appear some contained objects, otherwise he will not get the rewards at all. Leo World. Feng Yuan couldn't control himself now. He couldn't help but sit on the ground and looked at the screen with a trembling mouth. What kind of monster is this? Even the sun can't burn it to death. Even Ultraman will die if he gets close to the sun. The faces of Zhu Xingtan are not much better now, and they are constantly panting. Fortunately, there is no one near them, otherwise they will attract a lot of onlookers. Such a terrifying monster, Even if Ultraman attacks it with all his strength, he probably won't be able to kill it. Although he was very reluctant to do so, the stars must also think so. Shy ghosts are really terrible. Naruto world. Naruto has been frightened. He doesn't have the joy of controlling the power of the Nine Tails now. Compared with this monster, the Nine Tails are probably not good enough. It's terrible. Fortunately, it didn't show up here. Jiraiya panted again and again. He used to be very confident after gaining the power of the Six Paths Sage, but now he felt very guilty. The only way we can imprison such a monster is if we don't see his face in the first place. Tsunade analyzed this, with cold sweat on her forehead. I don't know if the illusion has any effect on it. If it does, it can make him mistakenly think that he killed the other party. Jiraiya couldn't help but think about his strategy. Of course, it would be best not to encounter him. Marvel, Karma Taj. It can't be destroyed even if it's beaten into the sun. How should we destroy this kind of monster? Wang's pupils were trembling. He really couldn't think of a way to eliminate this monster. The other magic apprentices were frightened. How could they win when encountering such a monster? Then they all looked at their only support, Ancient One. Ji Yuyi solemnly stared at the shy ghost on the screen and said, all I can think of is to use the power of the devil to destroy it. If it cannot be eliminated, the only way is to eliminate the memory of this creature and seal it. After hearing Ji Yuyi's words, many people felt relieved. No matter what, there was no need to be afraid if Ji Yuyi was here. But Ji Yuyi didn't have much confidence when he said it. She always felt that this was not the limit for a shy person. Asgard. All the Asgardian warriors looked stunned, their mouths so big that they almost dropped. They have been fighting in the Nine Realms for many years. When have they ever seen such a terrifying thing? Brother, do you still think you can deal with this kind of monster? Loki asked, looking at Thor with a smirk. Me. Thor didn't know what to say now. He didn't even dare to get close to the sun. How could he defeat such a monster? This made Thor, who had always been arrogant, suddenly very happy that he had not encountered such a terrifying monster. Lord Odin, if it were you, would you be able to resist? Frigga asked Odin. As soon as these words came out, all eyes were focused on the King of Nine Realms. If even he couldn't fight against such a terrifying monster, who else could? Odin thought for a moment and then replied, I'm not sure either, but it's possible to find a way to control it. Hearing this answer, everyone didn't feel much relieved and couldn't help but whisper. That's enough. It doesn't appear in our world anyway, so there's no need to worry about it. Odin felt that his authority had been challenged, and he scolded him with great dissatisfaction, and then silenced everyone. The most important thing now is that the frost giants invaded our treasure house. We need to find out what happened and why the frost giants were able to sneak in. Father, please let me fight. After hearing this, Thor immediately asked for help. He was hit hard after seeing Shy Guy's behavior and needed to vent his anger, so he happened to take the frost giant to vent his anger. No, now is not the time. Odin heard Thor's request and immediately refused. Why? Our territory was invaded, why didn't we fight back? Thor shouted in confusion. Things haven't been cleared up yet. Odin retorted. Is there anything unclear? Now that the frost giants don't take us seriously, we must fight back immediately. This is what a king should do. Thor was quite puzzled and didn't understand why Odin was procrastinating so much. As a result, as soon as these words came out, Odin was immediately displeased. You are not the king yet. I am still the king of Asgard. If I say no, I can't. Odin's words were full of incomparable oppression, leaving everyone breathless. Thor, who was still full of energy, was instantly suppressed and unable to speak. Odin snorted coldly when he saw this and looked at the screen again. He was now curious about how the alien from the Dragon Ball universe should deal with such a creature. DC Universe. Bruce Wayne kept panting and couldn't calm down for a long time. A monster that even the sun cannot destroy, such a terrifying creature, luckily it did not come to his world. Otherwise he simply doesn't know how to fight. The only way to contain this guy is to wait for him to calm down and then lock him in the mirror world. Otherwise, there is no other way. The legend of Bruce Wayne continues, try your best to suppress the emotions in your heart. Batman, are you finally crazy? What have you been muttering and what are you afraid of? Bane, who was tied to the ground with all his bones broken, stared at Batman and shouted. When he first saw Batman's Knight Rider costume, he thought it was some new trick, but was instantly killed. How could he bear this? Dressed up like this, are you finally crazy? Shut up. Batman roared in annoyance and punched Bane unconscious. Then he heard the siren and entered the mirror world to leave. Apartment. Diana looked extremely serious, and the shyness was more terrifying than she imagined. Although she is blessed by countless gods, she will never be able to get close to the sun without any problems. What kind of devil is this? Diana was very reluctant, but she had to be thankful that she had not encountered such a monster. I can't help but wonder what the people in the Dragon Ball universe should do. Among the people in several worlds, the only one who can still remain calm is probably Doraemon. As for Nobita, he had been frightened and was sleeping. Well, I wonder if my props can calm its anger, or teleport it to other places, huh? Doraemon checked his props, it was the first time he was so careful. At this time in the Dragon Ball world, Klin and the others lowered their heads in fear and trembled. Piccolo's words gave them no courage to raise their heads and face such a terrifying monster. I don't know what to do at the moment. Kill us, are we going to be killed by this monster before the Saiyans come? Tianjin Fan clenched his fists unwillingly. He felt that the monster was approaching, but he didn't even have the courage to escape. That terrifying energy had completely crushed his courage. There is only one way now. Just then Piccolo spoke. He looked at the shy guy getting closer and closer, with determination in his eyes. Then he actually rushed towards the shy guy. Everyone was stunned when they saw Piccolo's actions, and so were the audiences in other worlds. Just when everyone thought Piccolo had some way to fight back, they saw him stop directly in front of the shy guy and close his eyes. PFF'd. I saw Shy Ghost scratching Piccolo's chest with one claw, and then slapped his head with another claw. Just snapped Piccolo's neck and his head flew out. A large amount of green blood spurted out from the neck. This scene frightened everyone, and no one expected that Piccolo would actively seek death. Naruto. What is he thinking? Why is he actively seeking death? Natasha. I'm afraid I don't know what to do, so I can only commit suicide to stop the shy guy from continuing his actions. Barton. No, this is the only way. Bruce Wayne. To be honest, I think this is the only way to do it, otherwise there is really no way to stop this monster. Zoro. What an amazing man. He would seek death without hesitation. Ancient One. What an amazing alien who actually sacrificed his life for the Earth. Fengyuan. You are so brave, we will remember your Piccolo. Diana. If we weren't separated by a universe, I would really like to make friends with such a great warrior. Sun Wukong. Well, you don't have to be so nervous. He is truly worthy of Piccolo. He is the only one who can do this. However, when everyone was feeling sad, Sun Wukong suddenly said such a sentence that stunned everyone. Sun Wuhan. Dad, what do you mean? Sun Wukong. Gohan, you have lived with Piccolo for so long, and you still don't know his power. Sun Wuhan. That's it. Sun Wufan immediately understood what Sun Wukong meant and showed a look of joy, while the others looked confused and couldn't understand what the father and son were talking about. At this time, Piccolo has been broken into pieces by Shy Guy and cannot be put together completely. This is not enough for the Shy Guy, and he will eat all the body parts before he gives up. Seeing Shy Ghost destroying Piccolo, Krillin and others were trembling and almost couldn't help but stare at Shy Ghost, not knowing what would happen next. Ooh. I saw the Shy Man covering his face and crying non-stop. He finally stopped killing and returned to his appearance of not wanting to see people. At this moment, everyone finally felt relieved. Piccolo. Really, if you don't force me to do this, death will be very painful. Piccolo's words suddenly appeared on the screen, leaving many people stunned. Isn't he dead? Naruto, Chopper, Usopp and Nami. Ghost. Piccolo. Don't scream, I'm not dead. The screen thoughtfully switched to Piccolo's head. The veins in Piccolo's head popped out, and then a lot of blood suddenly spurted out from his chin, and then he actually grew a body. This moment left the audience confused and completely confused as to what was going on. Piccolo. I have strong regeneration ability. As long as my head is not damaged and I have enough strength, I can restore my body. When they saw Piccolo, everyone didn't know what to say. He actually had such an operation. Now everyone understood what the previous conversation between Sun Wukong and Sun Wufan was about. Indeed, what they said was right. This kind of operation of risking death and resurrecting can only be done by people with particularly strong regeneration abilities. Fortunately, it was Piccolo who faced the Shy Guy, otherwise anyone else would have really died. Piccolo walked behind Shy Guy. It seemed that Shy Guy thought Piccolo was dead, so he kept crying. Then Piccolo's eyes flashed, and he conjured a closed iron cage out of thin air to trap the Shy Guy. Luffy. What kind of move is this? He actually made a cage out of thin air. Strange. Is this magic? Piccolo. I do know how to conjure things. Ancient One. It's interesting. He is powerful and can use magic. Your world is really magical. Sun Wukong. As expected of Piccolo, he has solved such a big crisis. Piccolo. There's still a way to fool this Shy Guy, but the next thing won't work. Piccolo said and looked at the sky. They were all exhausted now. If the Saiyans came at this time, they would be in big trouble. The shelter object Shy Ghost has been successfully taken into custody, and rewards will be distributed now. Picotto is restored to full form, and Krillin, Tianjin Fan, Leping, Sun Wufan and Dumpling's potential is unleashed. After the sound ended, Piccolo and the others suddenly became more energetic. What power is this? Why did my strength suddenly increase so much? It feels endless. Klin and others looked at their bodies in shock. They now feel that they are full of power and cannot control it. Their own energy is flowing out like a fountain. Such sudden changes surprised them greatly. Ah! At this time, Piccolo's voice sounded, and then everyone felt that the energy emitted by Piccolo was far greater than them. What kind of power is this? I feel like my strength has increased more than 10 times. Piccolo looked at his powerful body in shock, and what surprised him most was that the connection between him and the gods seemed to be broken. Skyline. What's going on? Why is the connection between me and Piccolo broken? The god cried out in shock. He and Piccolo were originally one body. Even if they were separated, there was still some connection, but now that connection is gone. This means that no matter who dies between them, it will not affect the other. The god looked frightened when he thought of this. He clearly felt that Piccolo had gained a lot of strength now, and now that he had no trump cards to restrain him, what should Piccolo do if he wanted to do evil? Can I still rely on Wukong? In the universe, Vegeta looked at the Earth in shock. Through the detector, he clearly felt that there were several with a combat power of more than 10,000. 12,000, 13,000. Even 40,000. How is it possible? How can he be stronger than me? At this moment, Vegeta's mentality exploded. Because of this strange barrier reward, the strength of the people on Earth was instantly close to his. Moreover, the Namekians were stronger than him. How could he let the proud and arrogant Saiyan prince accept this? Diana. Restored to a complete body. This guy named Piccolo, did he have some problem with his body just now? Wasn't it incomplete? Piccolo. I have no obligation to explain to you, but that Saiyan named Vegeta, do you still dare to come? We are much stronger now. Vegeta. Do you think this can scare me? I'm the strongest Saiyan. Piccolo. Don't forget, I still have the trump card of Shy Guy. I can throw it in front of you at any time and show you what he looks like. Vegeta. You. Vegeta instantly felt furious when he saw Piccolo's shameless method. He has seen through the detector how terrifying the Shy Ghost is. How can he defeat it? Namekians. Hey, wait. Just when Vegeta was irritable, he suddenly thought of something and gave a sneer. Vegeta. Do you think I'm a fool? As long as you don't look at the face, it's fine. I see that your fighting method is to sense the opponent's combat power and judge actions. I can do this kind of thing too. Piccolo's expression darkened slightly after seeing Vegeta's message. Indeed, if Vegeta is determined and closes his eyes, Shy Guy will be of no use. Vegeta. Besides, don't think that your increased combat power will scare me. I still have a backup plan. After Vegeta finished speaking, he pressed the detector. Naba can hear it, and you have seen the fighting power on Earth. I saw them, they are stronger than me, they even have 40,000 fighting strength, how can we fight like this? Nappa's voice was filled with fear. He originally thought that the combat power on this planet was only 1,000 at most, but suddenly it surged to more than 10,000 or tens of thousands, which he couldn't handle. Where can I think of continuing to fight? Don't panic, Nappa. Are you still a proud Saiyan like this? Vegeta heard Nappa's cowardly attitude and immediately scolded him with great dissatisfaction. Although he knew that there were terrifying strong men on the earth, his deep-seated self-esteem as a Saiyan prince did not allow him to back down in any way. What's more, he may not lose. Nappa, don't forget, what are the true abilities of a Saiyans? Vegeta said with a confident smile. Ah, that's right. As long as we transform into giant apes and increase our combat power tenfold, we won't be afraid of those guys anymore. Nappa immediately shouted excitedly. Those people on Earth must die. When Vegeta said this, he clenched his fists hard and his expression became increasingly ferocious. Marvel's streets of Brooklyn, Xie Yun also received a reward. The shelter object Shy Ghost was successfully contained. Congratulations to Xie Yun for receiving the reward. Acquire the immortality of a Shy Ghost. No matter what kind of attack it receives, even if it is thrown into the sun, the host will not die. It will recover all injuries instantly. After the sound rang, Xie Yun felt as if something had changed in his body. The Shy Ghost's immortality. Hearing such a reward, how could Xie Yun not be excited and immediately stood up with all his strength? He then summoned carnivorous vines and attacked his arm violently, knocking off a piece of flesh. Such an injury would be extremely painful for anyone, and Xie Yun was no exception. Ah! It hurts. After Xie Yun screamed twice, he suddenly felt no pain. Upon closer inspection, the injury healed instantly, as if nothing had happened. This ability is amazing. Even if you throw it into the sun, you won't die. This is not the upper limit. Xie Yun couldn't help but be excited. Now he had the most powerful ability to save his life. As expected of someone from the Dragon Ball universe, he can even take down a shy person. However, it should be noted that once the host's bones are destroyed, they can never be restored and will die completely. When Xie Yun was happy, the prompt sounded. He was immediately stunned. Death from broken bones. I remember that in a certain universe of containment, there was a doctor who used the ability of a Shy Ghost to break its neck, and then killed it by injecting medicine. Xie Yun said this based on his memory. Doesn't this mean that he should take it easy in the future to avoid meeting shy people? Hopefully those shield guys won't let Shy Guy out. Xie Yun prayed helplessly. Akio. Nick Fury suddenly sneezed loudly, startling Tony, who was receiving Natasha's injection. Hey, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Go see a doctor quickly. Tony Stark said dissatisfiedly. He was chatting with the beautiful agent who happened to pass by, but he was interrupted. Sorry, I think someone is secretly speaking ill of me. Could it be you? Nick Fury said with a glance. You think too much, I said it to your face. After Tony Stark finished speaking, he looked at his skin. The veins on it looked darker. This is just delaying the palladium poisoning. You have to find a way to cure it. Natasha reminded. I know this very well, but it's not that simple. I have tried many elements, but none of them can replace it. Tony Stark said helplessly. It's not like there's nothing we can do. After Nick Fury finished speaking, he took out a box and threw it to Tony Stark. This is a relic left by your father. He once discovered a brand new thing, which may be helpful to you, but you can research it yourself on what it is. You may find nothing in the end. After Nick Fury left these words like a riddle, he went to direct the work of the agents. This made Tony Stark look confused and had no idea what Nick Fury meant. Then he looked at the relics left by his father, with all kinds of thoughts in his mind, wondering whether he should open it or not. Naruto World. Jiraiya and the four of them were on their way back to Konoha Ninja Village. During their break, they were guiding Naruto in his training. Haha. I'm so tired. This guy is so powerful. Naruto fell to his knees in exhaustion. The Kyuubi's power was too powerful, and he couldn't bear to mobilize even part of it. I almost broke my body. You brat, my power is not so easy to steal. But why on earth can you use my power without my consent? The Kyuubi roared angrily inside Naruto, not understanding why at all. Oh, don't worry about it. It's already like this. Let's just get along well. Get along well with you. When Naruto and Kyuubi were arguing, Jiraiya thought for a moment and then replied, You are too weak now and cannot control Kyuubi's power at all. Let's start with basic training, just like helping me carry my luggage and increase the weight. Quote. You are taking the opportunity to be lazy. Naruto looked at Jiraiya suspiciously. Idiot. I'm here to train you. I think you just want to take advantage of the opportunity to be lazy. How can you question Master's hard work? Tsunade and Shizune watched the excitement from the sidelines. Tsunade just wanted to roll her eyes at this pair of idiot apprentices. Then Tsunade looked behind her, and then suddenly her eyes widened, releasing strong murderous intent. It caused a certain bush to shake. What's wrong? Jiraiya walked over and asked while waving his hands. As for Naruto, he punched him down, ending the quarrel. It's nothing, it's just that the people following us are a little annoying. They're too close. Tsunade replied. It should be Danzo. That guy has always wanted to be Hokage, but I want you to be the Hokage. Once you agree, with the reputation of the Senju clan, no one will object. It will be particularly disadvantageous for him. Quote. Jiraiya said staring into the woods. Haha, I don't care what that guy thinks. As long as he dares to do something bad to me, then don't even think about it. Tsunade said coldly. It's just that you can detect the people in the bushes, those with roots, who are very good at hiding themselves. Sometimes I can't find it. It's obvious that you have been drinking, but you are the first to notice, is that the domineering look? Quote. Jiraiya asked curiously. Yes, just as the voice said, you can predict the movements of the surrounding life, and there is even more room for improvement. If you combine Haki and Chakra, I don't know what it will become. Quote. There was a bit of passion in Tsunade's voice when she spoke. This ability from another world made her very interested and wanted to spend time studying it. There will be more and more challenges in the future, and she must master them as soon as possible. It's just that I'm more worried about Orochimaru. Jiraiya raised his head and looked at the sky with a solemn look on his face. The sea virus turns into a monster, and that guy will definitely do whatever he wants. Jiraiya couldn't help but clench his fists when he said this. If Orochimaru dares to mess around again this time, he will kill him no matter what. Orochimaru's secret base. There was something that looked like a silkworm chrysalis standing out on the ground. Kabuto stood aside to protect him. Crack. The next second, cracks appeared on the surface of the silkworm chrysalis, and then exploded immediately. A huge figure rose from the chrysalis. This figure had strange tentacles and flesh all over its body, and most of its body had eyes. The hands and feet are like dinosaur claws. Only the face could barely make out a human appearance. It was Orochimaru's face. Lord Orochimaru. How are you doing now? Kabuto asked anxiously. I feel very good. It seems that I have really evolved into a new realm and completely surrendered to human skin. Orochimaru looked at his body and replied. But you look like this, can you still form a seal? Kabuto didn't appear to be afraid of monsters like Orochimaru, but instead worried about other problems. Don't worry, this sea virus doesn't just turn into a monster. After Orochimaru sneered, with a thought, his body quickly shrunk, all tentacles and eyes all over his body were retracted into his body, and he returned to his original human form. I can switch between human and monster forms at will. In human form, I can fully use ninjutsu. Orochimaru said looking at his arm with great satisfaction. Furthermore, after being strengthened by the virus, my physical and mental strength have increased to an unprecedented level. The chakra I have gathered is many times greater than before. If I encounter that old man from the third generation again, I will definitely kill him in an instant. Orochimaru's eyes were full of enthusiasm. People who used to only want to study ninjutsu now really want to study this magical virus. They really want to know the limits of such a virus and what kind of sparks will be generated when fused with ninjutsu. When he thought of this, Orochimaru's scientist's mind couldn't help but come up with all kinds of incredible things. Kabuto, how's the copy made based on my blood and your research going? Orochimaru looked at Kabuto. In order to study the C virus, he specially used his own blood to study it, and even took a copy of the C virus in his pocket. Trying to mass-produce more C virus. The results are there, and it has strong variability, but it's not sure whether it's controllable and whether the human body can tolerate it. Kabuto answered immediately. Then just experimenting is enough, don't we have a lot of mice here? Orochimaru sneered, He had as many test subjects as he wanted, and he didn't have to worry about not having enough. He now clearly feels the power of the C virus, and there are more possibilities. He doesn't know how many tricks can be researched. By the way, Lord Orochimaru, what should we do about Sasuke? Our original purpose was to take his body, but is it still necessary now? Kabuto asked curiously. Of course. After all, I am still very interested in his Sharingan. Orochimaru replied with a sneer, then looked at his body. What's more, the mutation of the C virus varies from person to person. I'm very curious about how far Sasuke, who has the limit of blood inheritance and excellent talent, coupled with his hatred for Itachi, will mutate under the influence of the C virus. If you are stronger than me, you will be worthy of taking over. Orochimaru spoke with a bit of fanaticism and a terrifying smile. Doraemon World. After Nobita got the first-year course at Hogwarts, he immediately started studying and couldn't wait to become a magician. But this is particularly difficult. Wingardium Leviosa. Nobita tried his best to wave his wand and chant a spell at a book, but it was of no use. No, Nobita, according to the notes in the book, the tone of your incantation must be light and heavy, and the force of waving the wand should not be too strong. Doraemon looked at the notes in the spell textbook carefully. The handwriting on it is very beautiful, and the explanation is very comprehensive, so you can immediately understand how to use magic. It seems that the owner of this book is a top student, and with this beautiful handwriting, he is also a top student. Ah, I don't practice anymore, why do I need to practice magic? Can't it be done with just one spell? Nobita grabbed his hair in collapse. He originally thought that after learning well, he could go out and show off, but in the end he was stuck on the basics of entry. I thought it would be just a matter of waving the wand and chanting a spell, but I didn't expect it to be so difficult. It directly let him, who didn't know how to read, break his defense. Idiot, this requires hard training to achieve results. If you don't work hard, you won't be able to learn magic. Doraemon shook his head helplessly and said, Doraemon, how about you use props to help me learn it right away? Nobita immediately begged Doraemon for help. No, my props can't help. I don't have anything that can help you learn magic quickly. Doraemon immediately refused. And it's just a good training for you. If you don't know how to learn on your own, you won't be able to do anything in your life. Doraemon began to talk about the great principles of educating Dashang. As a result, Nobita didn't listen at all and instead read other books. What are you looking at now? Doraemon asked suspiciously. I'm reading this potion book. You don't need to recite a spell, just put the medicinal ingredients. It must be suitable for me. Nobita raised the book in his hand and said with a smile on his face. After Doraemon heard this, his eyes became helpless and he replied, Nobita, our world does not have the materials mentioned above. Hey. Only then did Nobita react and screamed in shock. Nobita. What are you arguing about? Have you finished your homework? At this time, my mother's voice came from below. Upon hearing this, Nobita instantly shut down. That's right, he didn't do his homework, now it's over. Doraemon. Leo World. Since Gunteras appeared, the stars were immediately called for questioning and asked about the origin of Gunteras. Zhu Xingtuan immediately made up nonsense and said that it was a gift left to the Earth by his former alien friends, and tried his best to fool him. Mac executives temporarily believed the words of the star clusters and wanted to take back Gunteras for research. However, the problem was that the controller could only be used by the star clusters, and others could not use it or decipher it. Therefore, research requires the follow-up of various star clusters, and it is guaranteed that only monsters and cosmic beings can be used. After Zhu Xingtuan finished dealing with the senior officials, they went to find Feng Yuan. He was training Kaio Fist alone. At this time, Feng Yuan was lying on the ground exhausted. How's your Kaioken training going? Zhu Xingtuan looked at Feng Yuan who was lying down and asked. The side effects are so great that my body can't stand it just by taking twice as many doses. Feng Yuan replied breathlessly. Then you have to continue basic training. Your physical fitness determines Leo's strength, so you have to continue training more. When Zhu Hoshidan mentioned training, he became energetic, and his eyes emitted a strange light. This made Feng Yuan, who was exhausted, couldn't help but tremble. Now for the next containment prediction. At this time, the sound of the screen sounded. All the people who were doing things looked over. It was said that this screen was magical. It would follow them wherever they went, and no one would see it. It was convenient for them to watch and do things at the same time. Red Sea World. These four big words appeared on the screen, and then a red thing that looked like a CD appeared. If everyone had seen such a CD before, they would have disapproved of it. But after seeing the terrifying effects of 3D glasses, no one dared to look down upon any seemingly inconspicuous contained object. At first this thing was found on a red coast, and there was a body along with it. We didn't know what the relationship between this body and this thing was. At first we thought it was an ordinary optical disc, but when it moved, we discovered that something was not simple. Then a picture appeared on the screen. The disc actually rolled on its own and moved closer and closer until it was attached to a mirror. This disc will actively look for mirrors or anything that can clearly reflect objects. If there is nothing nearby, it will go far away, and the speed will get faster and faster. The picture on the screen changed. A researcher dropped the red disc on a grassland. Then the red disc started rolling directly on the grassland, moving rapidly in one direction. As the distance gets farther and farther, the speed of the disc becomes faster and faster, making it almost impossible to see clearly. Finally, it passed through grasslands, highways, and mountains, found a place where people lived, and stuck it to the mirror inside before stopping. During this process, the disc caused an unknown amount of damage, with trees and rocks being penetrated. It is conceivable that as long as it does not find a mirror that can be attached to it, it will never stop. Everyone looked surprised when they saw this. They didn't understand what this disc was doing. Why were they looking for mirrors everywhere? According to observations, when a red disc is attached to a mirror, the image of the mirror will change and it will look like it does not belong to our world. Later, we arranged for people to conduct experimental holding experiments, and found that when different people hold the disc, the color of the disc will change. Red, yellow, blue, green, and purple are the 5 variations of this CD. The color of the disc is determined based on the mental qualities, emotions, etc. of the person holding it. At first we didn't know what the color meant, or what effect the disc had on changing the image of the mirror. We didn't know until one day something unexpected happened. One day, 2 researchers were arguing in the laboratory about who would pay for lunch. The argument was so intense that they almost started fighting. One of the researchers happened to be experimenting with a CD. When he was pushed away, he happened to press the CD against the mirror. Quote. Then something incredible happened, that is, the researcher actually passed through the mirror and entered another world. As soon as this phenomenon appeared, we realized that this disc is a door to another world. As long as someone holds the disc and presses the disc against the mirror, he can enter another world. Then we continued to conduct many studies and found that the world we entered with different colored discs seemed to be different. No, it was not so much different, it was more that it appeared in different locations. We are not yet clear about the significance of this. So we decided to send people into this world to investigate. When seeing this, everyone's expressions changed. It's actually another world transporting prop. Nick Fury. This optical disc can actually travel to another world. Is it the same as 3D glasses? Warring states. Is there a monster in another world, and the monster will run out through this mirror? Tsunade. You'll know what it's like once you see it. The content of the screen continues. When the Conception Society learned about the true power of this disc, they immediately organized a mobile task force to enter this world to investigate what existed in this world. However, this world is different from what we imagined. It is full of ruins and desolate, as if it has experienced some kind of war. And it is a war of huge scale. However, this is not the most important thing. The most terrifying thing is the indigenous people of this world. When the sound came here, the screen changed and a group of extremely huge creatures appeared. This group of creatures have green skin, are 50 times the size of humans, are between 50 and 100 meters tall, and their facial features are quite ferocious and do not look like humans. What's weird is that none of these creatures have lower bodies, and they seem to rely on tall arms to support their bodies. When we first encountered this kind of monster, we were all frightened. We didn't expect that there were so many huge creatures in this world, which made our actions even more difficult. We must be careful every time we move forward and be careful to hide ourselves. God knows what will happen if you are discovered by these monsters. Fortunately, it is difficult for these creatures to see us because they are too tall. Even if we walk in the open space, we can ensure that we are not discovered. And according to our observations, they move very slowly. We initially thought that if saying that even if we are discovered, we can still evacuate, we will realize how stupid this idea is when something actually happens. The members of the mobile task force on the screen were moving forward cautiously. There were two huge monsters on both sides of them, moving their arms in the opposite direction, but did not see these people. Just like when humans walk, it is difficult to notice bugs passing by their feet. As long as this continues, the mobile task force will be reasonably safe. However, the good times did not last long, and accidents still happened. Dang! Dang! A member of the task force accidentally kicked a can, making a loud noise. Hey! This made several members cry out. They had been quiet for too long and had been in a state of high concentration and tension. Now a sudden movement suddenly frightened them. The gun almost went off. Sorry. The MTF member apologized hastily. Keep quiet. Another member quickly reminded everyone that they were making a bit too much noise at the moment. Boom. At this moment, a particularly heavy sound sounded, causing the entire ground to shake violently. All task force members immediately turned to look at the source of the sound. As a result, they saw the huge creature that had passed by them suddenly turning around and looking down at them. Quickly retreat. The captain of the mobile task force gave the order immediately and led everyone to run towards the mirror entering this world. They don't know what danger will come next, and the best way now is to get out of here quickly. In their perception, these creatures are tall and slow. Even if they come to chase them, they will definitely have time to escape from here. However, what happened next was beyond everyone's imagination. The huge creature let out a roar, and terrifying sound waves spread around, shaking all the nearby buildings apart. Then it exerted force with its arms and moved its body. The huge body instantly turned into an afterimage and disappeared in place, bursting forward at a speed that was far out of proportion to its size. Boom! All the buildings in front of the monster were smashed by it, without any blocking effect at all. The monster rushed directly in front of the mobile task force members, blocking their way and punching them at the same time. Boom! The power of this punch was terrifying, and it directly opened huge cracks in the ground. By the time the fist was raised, several members of the mobile task force had turned into flesh and were too dead to die. Shot. At this time, everyone else was frightened. Only then did they realize how terrifying this monster was. They fired quickly, threw grenades, and fired howitzers to bombard it, trying to harm this horrible creature. However, their firepower had no effect at all. Bullets and explosions have no effect on this monster. Or maybe it's just shaving off some skin flakes. Boom. At this time, violent explosions were heard from all directions. I saw that the monsters who were originally a little far away from here were all attracted by the movement here, bursting out with extremely amazing speed, breaking through the buildings and trampling through the earth. They all made extremely terrifying roars. The remaining members of the mobile task force looked extremely ugly when they saw this group of monsters rushing towards them. Only at this moment did they realize how stupid their previous judgment was. When the monsters surround them, the fate of this group of people is nothing but death. The only good thing is that they continued to turn on the real-time camera until the last moment and sent the captured footage back to the original world to teach subsequent people a lesson. Seeing this, many people's expressions changed, and they all showed surprise. Tony Stark. What kind of monsters are these? Why are they so big and so fast? And they still walk with their hands. This is unscientific. Vegeta. What's the point? Big body and fast speed are the real strong ones. That kind of speed of weakening is called stupidity. Odin. I agree with this. I have encountered some similar things. Natasha. But the most important thing is this world. Why are there such monsters everywhere? Bruce Wayne. Could it be an alien invasion? All humans in that world were wiped out by such creatures. Nick Fury. It's very possible, otherwise there's no way to explain why the world is like this. Feng Yuan. You fools. What kind of creatures are these? They actually launched an invasion. Nami. In that case, can those creatures also enter the world of the shelter through the mirror? Since people from their world can go there, then so can the monsters. Jiraiya. Impossible. The size difference is so huge. How can we get in? While everyone was busy discussing, the content on the screen continued. After the senior management of the shelter learned about the situation in this world, they immediately launched targeted research. Some people felt that perhaps they should not continue to explore this world, while others felt that they must continue to explore to prevent the world from encountering the same crisis in the future. After some debate, the senior management decided to continue sending a mobile task force to investigate this world and named it the Red Sea World. Nobita. No way. They still dare to continue sending people to investigate the world, aren't they afraid of death? Nick Fury. Boy, you don't understand this. Sometimes the more dangerous it is, the more someone needs to investigate. Otherwise, if the same thing happens in your world one day and you don't know how to deal with it, you will be in trouble. Sengoku. Indeed, if it were me, I would send the Navy to investigate unknown areas. Nobita. Then, what should we do if they die? Sengoku. Sacrifice is inevitable, we will remember them, they are all heroes working for peace. When Nobita saw the ruthless words of these people, he had to be stunned. At this moment, he came into contact with the ruthless world of adults. Seeing that Nobita didn't speak for a long time, everyone else was silent. They already knew that Nobita was a child, and it was normal for him not to be able to accept it for a while. The more they saw in the future, the more they would understand this kind of thing. Nobita, some things are like this. You want someone to sacrifice to do it. Doraemon looked at Nobita like this and sighed helplessly to comfort him. Is there any way to prevent them from sacrificing themselves? Nobita asked. Well, they are not in our world, and I don't know either. Doraemon looked at the screen. If it were him, he could just use props instead of exploring without sacrificing his life. At this time, on the screen, another group of task force members entered the Red Sea world. This time, there was an unexpected change. That is, when the color of the disk is different, the areas entered are also different. Some are in the hills, some are on the seaside, some are in cities, and some are in rural areas. If monsters like that weren't still everywhere, researchers would have thought that different colors connected different worlds. Everyone doesn't understand what the color of the disk means. They are all the same world and come out in different places. Is it important? No one can figure this out. The only constant is that the mobile task force's exploration continues. With lessons learned from the past, the members of this group were careful in every move they made to avoid making any sound. All their weapons were silenced, and even their clothes were covered with sound-insulating materials. They also specially made tactical camouflage to avoid being caught by this as much as possible. A group of terrifying creatures are discovered. Being fully armed like this really worked. They were able to move forward quite far without being noticed by any giant creature. The unchanged scenery at first glance made everyone feel depressed. No one knows whether they will really find anything if they continue walking like this, or whether they will be unable to go back smoothly because they go further and further. But there was no other way. They had already received the order and had no other choice but to move forward. Finally they saw a complete building, which was a tall tower and seemed to have some sense of technology from the outside. After seeing this tower, the members of the mobile task force, who were originally disheartened, were shocked and decided to go inside and explore. The only complete building may contain some confidential information. However, a problem arose, that is, there were many huge creatures around the tower. If you want to pass under their feet, it is definitely a very risky behavior. If you fail, you will be discovered and then cut into pieces. Thinking of such a scene, the members of the task force hesitated and did not dare to move forward. Keep going, we must figure out what is here. However, when they hesitated, orders from the top came over the intercom. This completely put them at a loss. Then they took a deep breath and began to look for a route that could pass through the monsters and enter the tower. Naruto. Are you kidding me? What was the person who gave the order thinking? He didn't know what was going on, so he just gave random orders. Kizaru. Oh, I think so too. This is a bit ridiculous. Diana. No matter how much you want to know more, you shouldn't do it so recklessly. You should have a thorough plan. Nick Fury. That's what I said, but how should I plan? Is it a bait tactic to attract monsters? At the speed of those monsters, I'm afraid more people will die. Tony Stark. Hey, do you agree with this approach? Don't you often give unreasonable orders? Barton. Indeed. Nick Fury. Barton. Watch your words, I haven't been so reckless. Akainu. Humph, how can you uphold justice if you don't even dare to sacrifice yourself? Naruto. What kind of justice is it to sacrifice subordinates at will? Akainu. Shut up, justice is so ruthless. Suna Moribashi. Justice is ruthless. That's nonsense. Akainu. What did you say? Sengoku. Enough Akainu, stop arguing. Leo World. Suna Moribashi looked at the screen with a little dissatisfaction. How can this guy named Akainu say that, ruthless justice? What's the difference between that casual attitude of sacrifice and evil? What kind of leader is he if he takes his subordinates as sacrifices? Zhu Xingtuan said indignantly. However, Feng Yuan, who was standing by, had a strange expression after hearing this. Feng Yuan couldn't help but look at the stars with strange eyes. In his impression, this captain would sometimes give strange orders, causing the death of team members, or torture him in different ways. Is this kind of person really qualified to say that he is incompetent? Zhu Xingtuan felt a strange sight and immediately turned his head to look over. Feng Yuan had already withdrawn his gaze and was doing push-ups hard. While everyone was talking about it, the mobile task force had already begun to take action. They decided to take the risk alone to attract the attention of the monsters. Have this person run into the distant building and attack these monsters with a sniper rifle. Of course, the sniper rifle cannot cause any damage, and most importantly, attract the attention of this group of monsters. Ho 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 ho. Sure enough, this method worked. The monsters all noticed the sniper in the distance, and rushed over at an astonishing speed, smashing into buildings and hammering the ground. Their huge bodies quickly approached the building where the sniper was. Although the sniper's face was full of fear when he saw this, in order to complete the mission, he continued to shoot and attract as many monsters as possible. The other members of the mobile task force quickly ran towards the tower while the monsters were gone. Boom. At the same time, the building where the sniper was located had been destroyed, and he was dragged out, cut into pieces by several giant monsters and thrown into the mouth, not even crammed between the teeth. The monsters killed the sniper and immediately walked towards the tower, just in time to see the advancing mobile task force. Ho 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 ho. Seeing the appearance of strange humans, the monsters were so stimulated that they howled extremely angrily, then moved their huge arms with all their strength and ran towards them. Hurry! Hurry! When the members of the mobile task force saw the monsters running back, they all ran as fast as they could. They had to enter the tower no matter what. Ho 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 ho. The next second, the group of monsters came back at an alarming speed, surrounded the humans who dared to invade here, and then hunted them down. At this moment, countless blood splashed. Seeing this, everyone thought those people were dead. But when the screen changed, I saw a member of the mobile task force lying on the ground behind a door in the tower, gasping for air. He was the only one who survived and successfully entered the tower. His designation is C-123. C-123 stood up with difficulty and looked outside through the window. He found that the creatures outside seemed not to know that anyone had entered the tower and were slowly wandering around. This made C-123 breathe a heavy sigh of relief. Homage to the dead. C-123 was not immersed in sadness and fear of loneliness. Instead, he faced the door at the back and made a standard military posture, then turned around and continued walking forward. He also has his own mission, and he must figure out what is happening in this world. The tower has many rooms and very high floors. Fortunately, there are no mechanisms. Let C-123 explore smoothly. However, nothing useful could be found along the way. It was not until we reached a place that looked like a control room that we finally found a clue. The computer in the control room was still running normally, so C-123 decided to investigate the computer to see if there was any information. As a result, he really discovered the secret of this world. My name is, I am an agent of the Conservancy, and my world is in 1972. Seeing the first sentence, C-123 looked shocked and immediately reported through the intercom. The 4 words, my world, mean that this agent comes from the shelter in another parallel universe. If you keep reading, you may have important information. C-123 quickly scrolled down and saw many shocking things. In this world, I assume it is the same as my world, but from what I can see, the creatures in this world ended around 1954. I used that weird disk to travel to some places in the world. Start from this center and end from this center. I've seen landscapes that were barren of vegetation. I also tried to escape from the hands of the unclean ones, who chased whatever they felt. I didn't understand how they hunted, but I understood what they were. About 350 years ago, the world experienced a technological explosion that was unprecedented in our world. The source of all this seems to be caused by the arrival of him, a godlike being of unknown origin. He claimed that the world was unclean and full of sin, and that the only way to purify original sin was to purify the sinner. After a war, whoever survives is pure. Over the next 10 years, as all civilizations, science and technology improved dramatically in preparation for this war, he disappeared. Regardless, the war was started, and the instigator was the Holy United States, the same as the United States of our world. Records of this period are sketchy, and books detailing anything about this period are banned in this world. By tracing a series of broken computer communication systems, I located a cache of historical information. It seems that the basic weapon used in this war for his love is actually humans exposed to a certain liquid compound called his holy tears. I still see this compound in many abandoned medical facilities. Sacred tears can cleanse the impure from sin and make them love God, at least that's what it says. The records I recovered are very vague about this war, other than claiming that the saints he chooses cross the land of sin and bring sinners to their sins. Those who resist his love man is purified by its radiance. But something seems to have happened that no one knows how to fix. The unholy ones are giant semi-humanoid creatures that devour any living and breathing creature they come across. I actually found a scientific research report written by someone who stumbled into this place. Those creatures were the result of exposure to very high purity of God's tears, which resulted in severe genetic mutations. There are some terms here, such as quantum recombination and so on. Although I don't understand these at all, it means that they were once humans like us. They cannot be controlled, but they can be contained. They seem to be attracted by the tears of God, so a center will be set up in the center of different areas, where a person will stay with the purest tears of God, keeping those who are unclean in what is called the dry place, inside the area. Something went wrong with that stuff, for reasons unknown, but everything fell apart. Power facilities, civilization, humans, everything was reduced to ruins, and the unclean ones who staggered on the earth became the new rulers of the earth without any purpose or direction. If you can stand the stench, you can stand next to an unclean one and they will just pass you by. But if they notice you, you are dead. They will move as fast as thunder when necessary, and if there is no reason to speed up, they will move as slow as a snail. Sometimes, I guess they are simply chasing things, and other times, they move to hunt creatures. I guess there is someone, or someone, hiding in this facility, as I often hear voices and requests coming from below this floor. Before I explore this facility further, I'm going to throw it away. I threw the disc back into the mirror I entered to seal the entrance. We can't let these things into our world and we shouldn't have a hand in it. I don't think we're smart enough to understand it yet. I don't think the unclean will die. They are immortal, but they don't want that. They just want to die. In my mind, I haven't noticed until now that the equipment in this room is showing me things, and whatever is displayed on the screen is begging for help. I remember touching tears of God, smelling it, tasting it, just touching it. I didn't eat it, I just touched it, tasted the acidity, and I thought, our investigation process was really SB ha ha ha. The senior priests are still alive. They have technology that we can only imagine in comics, given by that person. Some of the records on this machine indicate space travel, but they wouldn't go too far, just far enough to watch the world fall apart and wait to come back and take over. But if they all go up, who is accompanying me in this building? I saw the faces of the people, the unclean ones. They appear in the photos printed by the machine, in the same room with me, looking at me. I guess they are everywhere in this world and can only be seen by these machines. They don't look sad or happy, just purely curious. They want to know Why? Why them? Why is this happening? I don't know. I really don't know. When I encountered them, they revealed things to me that were different from what was written in the records. The unclean ones remember everything, and everyone they touch becomes a part of them. They are safe inside, but dead to us. All thoughts, all feelings, all fears are eternal to them. I kind of want to join them, but there's so much to do. They want me to find him and kill him. There is no war at all. Everything is caused by he, it. It. He comes from the gap between light and darkness in the world of time and space. But should not have entered this world, and they called it a god, and they worshipped it, and they tasted it, and touched it, and lived with it, and became its slaves, and did its will, and it's still here as the one it brought. It brought that disk, it entered it powerfully, it built it, I don't know that they don't know, but it belongs to it. It makes it travel between different places and different worlds, so I destroyed it, ha 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 ha. I threw away the pieces of it and went through the hole, so the doors to those worlds were closed just like our worlds. I can't go home, and then what else can I do? It emerges from the stone, and somehow it knows where they are but can't reach them, but if you hide the stone, you can't get out and you're still stuck. I found you. Son of a fool, I got you. Bang bang ha ha. I met him. With my fist. And guns. He fell. But he will get up. Soon. I'm sorry, I've done all I can, now let me sleep, please. Let me sleep. The document ends here. When seeing this, C-123's expression was very ugly, and his brain could not digest so much information at once. At the same time, the screen stopped here, and it seemed that the introduction was over. When the audience saw this, they didn't react for a while. Luffy, who can tell me what's going on? What does this mean? Tony Stark, wait a minute, I'm sorting it out too. This is too much information, and it's very scary. Robin, I have sorted it out. If I understand correctly, those huge monsters, the unclean ones, were originally humans, and were mutated into such monsters by a substance called sacred tears. And all the aborigines of that world were destroyed. Cheated. Bruce Wayne. Yes, he and the priest mentioned in the document were the ones who deceived the world. They were the ones who incited any war to break out, so that humans could destroy themselves and take over the world without any blood. Those giant creatures are probably the troops he wants. Naruto. Is war so easy to start? Jiraiya. I definitely have a say in this. It's really easy to instigate war. As long as you don't have enough supplies or want more, you will find ways to devour weak beings, and weak beings are forced to trying to find a way to survive and find protection from the stronger ones, led to the war escalating repeatedly, and finally expanded more and more. Quote. Diana. That's right. As long as human greed remains, war will easily arise. Zhu Xingtuan. The so-called him is taking advantage of the weaknesses of human nature, deceiving mankind, starting a war, and turning mankind into such monsters. Nobita. But what's the use of a world full of monsters and ruins? Odin. It depends on what he is. Some creatures just like to rule a world full of ruins and monsters. I have seen similar things in the universe. Nobita. Ah. Warring states. If people in that world were smarter, they probably wouldn't be fooled. Piccolo. That's not necessarily true. I've seen a lot of the fragility of human nature. There are many people who can be provoked by just a few words. Tony Stark. The key is the explosion of technology, because some countries have advanced a lot in technology before they can, and they can't wait to show it off. It's like nuclear weapons. If a country has powerful weapons, it may launch aggression, otherwise countries are trying to develop stronger weapons in order to resist. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and support our channel.